Homeowners, when is the last time you checked your home title? Scammers are everywhere, and they're targeting your equity. With just a single forged document, they can file at the county. So don't wait until it's too late. Find out if you are already a victim today. Please go to HomeTitleLock.com. Use the promo code BILL to get a free title history report, plus a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. On this Tuesday, as Thanksgiving approaches, a new study out of New York University puts a bit of bitter in the sweet potato pie. It says that most Americans value eudaimonia above looking out for their family. What the heck is eudaimonia? Well, it's a Greek term meaning pursuit of self-interest, leisure, self-care, pleasure, things like that. So it's off to grandmother's house unless we get a fun party invitation. The study makes sense. The internet has caused a massive shift away from public good and towards individual gratification. Outside world, why bother? Trivial social media pursuits supply endless diversions from real world challenges. It's all there at the click of a thumb. And those challenges sometimes are focused on family. Why do we need them? Not worth the trip on Thursday. Luckily, most Americans hang on to some semblance of family tradition, but that's receding. And we don't need a study to see it. Even the Addams family understands that clan values can strengthen character. Eudaimonia? Save it for New Year's Eve. Back after this. Bill O'Reilly here. If you are stuck in a timeshare you no longer want, my friends at Lone Star Transfer can assist. Over the past 15 years, the family-owned company has helped more than 30,000 owners break free from their timeshares. They'll provide a guaranteed solution to exit your timeshare. So please call Lone Star Transfer 833-594-0079 or visit LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shane Scotch with your first alert forecast this afternoon. Going to see highs climbing back towards the upper 50s, mostly cloudy skies. Could see a few spot showers as we head towards the evening hours. Then into Wednesday and Thursday, temperatures looking to continuously cool back down towards the mid to lower 40s. Looking pretty dry, a little bit more sunshine popping out, especially in Thanksgiving Thursday. Then Friday could see some chances of a rain and snow mix. We'll continue to watch that as we're going to see more chances as we head off towards the upcoming weekend. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shane Scott.
Let's get moving, St. Louis. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, here's the bad news, is that the fight over, frankly, obscene material being targeted towards school children is still going on. But the good news is we've got somebody fighting that fight. So a little bit later on today, we're going to talk to Jane Puszkar from the Francis Howell School Board. She is under constant attack from the establishment. And get this, they really want her to shut up. How do you think that's going to work out for them? All right, good morning. I appreciate you making News Talk STL part of the day. As always here, I'm Mike Ferguson. And speaking of controversies and all the conflicts, boy, how about this news that Marjorie Taylor Greene is resigning from Congress with her feud, I should say, with President Trump. Well, Congressman Bob Onder joined us on Monday's program to give us his take on that and also what that's going to mean, because that's one less Republican vote, at least for a few months, that's going to affect that very slim Republican majority. Here's the update we got from the congressman.
What's kind of your gut take when you heard the news over the weekend that Marjorie Taylor Greene has announced she's resigning, and it's, the feud with the president right here? Just like on a personal or colleague level, what was your reaction to that?
Yeah, good morning. Marjorie has always enjoyed being in the limelight, and sometimes that's been for good reasons and sometimes not so good reasons. It's really disappointing to see one of the most, MAGA members of Congress feuding with the president and now resigning, narrowing our already slim majority. So right now we are at 219 to 213 with 3 seats empty. So if Marjorie Taylor Greene leaves, we'll be down 1. But then there is a special election for Mark Green's, former Congressman Mark Green's seat in Tennessee. That'll bring us back up 1. But then there are 2 special elections, one in January in Houston, Texas, and another in New Jersey in April that the Democrats may very well win. So, it does look like we will be dealing with an even slimmer majority.
Bob, I know that, she's kind of explained what her reasons are, and, we can kind of even take them at face value, but the decision to leave in January as opposed to serving out her term and not running for reelection. Obviously she's not the only person who's done it. That's why there are, Mark Green as an example too. And people have their reasons, but it just, they're 2-year terms. So I guess I'm just puzzled by this. Have you gotten a good sense of why someone, what the benefit is to just leaving early, as opposed to serving out your term and not running for reelection? To me, absent, a health problem, a family issue or something, there's really no excuse. You committed to the voter to serve for 2 years. 2 years aren't is not that long a period of time. It's not, Senate is 6 years, of course. To me, it's a betrayal of the people who elected you and the people who supported you. Many times members of your caucus, people who supported your campaign in various ways. So I just, absent a really good reason, and to me, getting a better job is not a sufficient reason. And certainly a feud with the president to me is not a sufficient reason. But I don't know all of what went into Marjorie's decision.
Okay, so going back to the majorities that are already very slim and could end up being slimmer even after those special elections. The word of the day is affordability, and obviously with healthcare. So we're going to have a battle of ideas. The Democrats basically say keep Obamacare, keep funding it, keep doing all that. And the president and congressional Republicans, you all are saying you're going to give an alternative idea. The president says he's going to announce his plan probably this week. What do you hope is in it? What do you hope the Republicans put forth? One, obviously looking at the elections coming up in 2026, but 2, that's actually going to make healthcare more affordable, because I think we've crossed the Rubicon, and I don't think we're going back to a free market system. I think it's a matter of which governmental system is going to be implemented.
Well, I believe that the only way we're going to have more affordable health care and more accessible health care is to be moving back in the direction of the free market. Yes, we departed from a pure free market system many, many years ago, really going back to wage and price controls back during the Roosevelt era that led employers to, because they weren't allowed to pay their workers more to compete for wages, they started paying for benefits instead, including health insurance benefits, which created kind of the third-party payment system that we have today. And it's grown, of course, with the various government programs over the years. But, we do not need to pour more money into this failed Obamacare system. We need to move toward a more free market, more consumer-driven healthcare system in a number of ways. I think association health plans are an excellent step in the right direction. Short-term health plans, health savings ministries. We need to protect employer-sponsored health insurance, which is probably one of the few bright spots in our health insurance finance system. But really, this extending these Obamacare COVID subsidies is just pouring more flame on, more gasoline onto the fire of unaffordability. The system's rife with fraud. We learned just last week that two insurance brokers down in Florida basically stole or committed $320 million worth of fraud in this zero copayment or zero premium category of Obamacare. And then at the other end of the income spectrum, people making up to $600,000 a year can be subsidized by Obamacare under these COVID subsidies. Look, COVID was over 2.5 years ago. It's time to let these subsidies designed by the Democrats expire.
Bob, one of the last votes that you all took in the House after the Epstein files, which of course got all the attention, was a unanimous vote, 426 to nothing, to repeal the Arctic frost provision that was added into the amended continuing resolution that came over from the Senate. What kind of buzz has that gotten in terms of, I mean, is the Senate going to take that up? Is there a chance that they're going to go ahead and pull that back out of the amended continuing resolution? What's your take on that?
So, yeah, Leader John Thune tried to bring, and I don't understand Senate parliamentary procedure as well as I wish I did, but Leader Thune tried to bring forward the provision by unanimous consent. And Senator Lindsey Graham, who was also the only one outspoken in favor of that $500 million or $500,000 bonus per violation for senators, he blocked the unanimous consent resolution. So I guess Lindsey Graham's fingerprints are on this particular provision. Everyone wondered where it came from, and it's not just 500,000; it's 500 per violation. And I don't know what a violation is. Right. Is every single phone record a violation? Every single line on the phone record a violation? So could there be 1,000 violations times $500,000? I am actually fine with there being a cause of action. Senator Thune proposed, you have a cause of action, you can sue, but then the money goes back into the Treasury. What would that do? What it would do is as a lawyer, it would enable discovery so that we could, through the discovery process, we could get to the bottom of who did what when and hold people accountable.
Yeah. Now, another vote that happened as well was one literally to pass a resolution denouncing the horrors of socialism.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, this passed, but the majority of Democrats actually voted against standing against socialism. That's a double negative, but basically they voted against a resolution that was against socialism. Now, Wesley Bell did not vote at all. Emanuel Cleaver voted against it. There were some Democrats, to be fair, who said, socialism is bad. The horrors of socialism is bad. But what do you make? I mean, what was that locker room talk? Or what was that water cooler talk in the House when that resolution was happening? And how do you vote basically in favor of socialism and against something that denounces socialism?
Yeah, and against the horrors of socialism. Yeah. And in the resolution, it specifically pointed out that up to 100 million human beings were killed by socialism in the last century. I mean, from Mao's Great Leap Forward, the Cultural Revolution, the forced famines in Ukraine by the Russians, Pol Pot, Castro, Venezuela to this day. I think the answer is that the Democrat Party has become the socialist party in this country. They just don't have the courage of their convictions to change the name of their party. They are the Socialist Party. Every single place we turn, Democrats want more control over our money, more control over our lives. They haven't committed, the mass murders of Pol Pot or Stalin or Mao, but they are ideologically kindred spirits in that they think the government should, as Barack Obama put it, fundamentally transform our country and transform it fundamentally in a way, away from freedom and more toward the government controlling our money, our lives, our speech, everything about the way we live. So, I was disappointed, but not entirely surprised to see how many Democrats refused to condemn. Again, it was to condemn the horrors of socialism.
Right. Right. Well, speaking of condemning, obviously there was a big hubbub over this ad that was released by Democrats that basically called on members of the military to disregard so-called illegal orders from the president. And there's obviously been calls for censure of the Congress people that were involved in that ad. What's your take on the fallout of that and what we might see coming down the pike in response to that?
Yeah, this is utterly despicable. Once again, I have to say, in a way, not surprising. I mean, the idea that, and many of these, I think many, if not all, of the Democrats on that video had either military or intelligence backgrounds. So to encourage members of the military to disobey orders given in the chain of command. Now, they say unlawful orders. Well, what does that mean? It really means anything they don't agree with. And again, not surprising because many congressional Democrats have been encouraging resistance to ICE agents and to Customs and Border Patrol agents. And we see that's those words have had real consequences. Assaults on ICE agents have gone up 1,000% since President Trump took office, and since the Democrats have been engaging in this boosterism for those who would attack ICE and resist law enforcement. It's really despicable that Democrats have really become the party of lawlessness, and this really is not consistent with an ordered society.
All right, a little change of topic here. Just remember, we've got that food drive happening right now. We're partnering, as you know, with the St. Louis County GOP Central Committee, and we are trying to raise the food to help the ministry of Feed My People right here in St. Louis. So get all of those locations for the drop-off bins. You can find them all at NewsTalkSTL.com. One of them's right here at the radio station. So bring your non-perishable foods, make that donation, because just because the SNAP thing got figured out, there are still a lot of people who need a little extra help. And I'm telling you, we can do it better than the government can do it. Let's put our money where our mouth is, and it doesn't even cost that much. My challenge to you, you're probably getting a lot of your Christmas shopping, your holiday shopping delivered right now. Well, take that box, and once you unload the gift, fill the box up saying, I'm going to use this space to help my neighbors in need. NewsTalkSTL.com is where you're going to find the rest of the information. All right, this is 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
On my way to work in the morning.
Usually in the car.
I listen on the app in my car every morning going to work.
Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to. So make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-439-7851. 800-439-7851. 800-439-7851. That's 800-439-7851.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
That guy over there is Stan Clement from Roots Plus. Why is it when you cut down trees, nobody says timber?
Well, I hadn't thought about that. I guess it's like on the golf course. Most people don't yell four. I think it's after you make your drive.
Maybe that's the problem. I think look out would be a better warning than four.
Vic Porcelli, live and local, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
All right, class, let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Okay, so no, in case you saw the news or saw the headlines, Doge has not been dissolved. It has not been ended. There were some reports that were going around this saying, okay, they've gone ahead and phased out Doge. Now, remember, Doge was supposed to be temporary anyway, but it was supposed to continue through next July.
Yeah,
I think is what it was. But it's still not getting as much done as I think a lot of us had hoped. But there was a report in the media saying, oh, it's been dissolved. So we'll get to that here in a second. It is 5:52 right now. Got producer Jerome here. My name is Mike. All right, we're going to get into this a little more depth right around 7:05 with our friends from the Herzog Foundation. A bench trial started yesterday in Jeff City, and that is the teachers' unions suing to basically dismantle as much of the Most Scholars program as possible. So the program that allows families to take their children to other education, they're suing to stop as much of that as they can. I don't think they can stop the whole thing, but we'll talk to Chris about that in a little bit here. So the teachers' unions are fighting tooth and nail to trap kids into failing government schools.
If only they put that much effort into actually building a curriculum and being effective teachers, and people wouldn't want to pull their kids out of the schools to begin with.
Yeah, and even if if they say, well, give us, if they say the public schools are great, this is everything what it should be. I first of all, I don't understand this leftist and frankly some on the right who look at public education as some kind of virtuous thing that inherently morally needs to be defended. I look at what I see in the public schools, at least right around where I live, from my wife's kids. Now they've graduated. They pulled themselves out, said we're finishing homeschooling. I'm not putting up with this crap. And then I think one of them took like one class or something like that there, but they're not worth defending at all. And people like, we want to fight for the public schools. I don't. I think there should be the public option, obviously, but we should fight to make them actually education institutions again. And they just aren't that. They are indoctrination centers at this point. And so the teachers' unions suing is basically trying to get the government to trap as many captive customers as possible for them. This is about their bottom line. This is about their careers. This is about their job security. And essentially, it's screw the kids and screw the families. That's really what's happening.
Yeah. If you look at the way other countries that are far exceeding us in our public education system do it, it's some kids get left behind. That's just the unfortunate reality. If they don't want to be there, if they're disruptive, why should all the kids there, especially because I have met some teachers that do try to do good and they sincerely want their, but when you have a disruptive kid that you can't do anything about, then how can you're being limited? And then you also you have these activist teachers that want to indoctrinate the kids.
That's the bigger problem. And speaking of that, by the way, 7:35, Jane Puszkar going to be with us. Of course, she's been under constant attack since getting elected to the Francis Howell School Board. And basically, the school district is saying, you need to stop. You need to pipe down, Jane. You need to hush. Have you met Jane Puszkar? Telling Jane Puszkar to hush ain't
not a good idea.
It's not going to happen. So we've got the update on what they want her to not say. Saying you can't say that, not in a public setting like this. Well, guess where it's coming from? The school. All right, so we'll get that in just a minute. All right, I saw these reports kind of popped up. Doge quietly dismantled or quietly dissolved, or in some of this, and I'm thinking, well, I guess it's plausible. You know, I mean, I haven't heard anything from Doge in quite a while since Elon Musk went back to his private sector, and but then I'm looking into it, and Doge, the actual office, put out a statement saying, no, that's fake news. We're still around. As a matter of fact, we found, a couple $100 million in contracts that were wasteful that we ended up getting canceled this week alone. And so they're saying, of course, Doge is like 10 people at this point, bunch of, number crunchers and researchers and all that sort of thing. And the reports got out and people kind of ran with it. But I'm thinking, okay, well, great. Doge is still around, but I've been really disappointed. It started off so promising. Billions and billions of dollars. They said they found over $1 trillion in spending that could be cut by wasteful spending, by wasteful positions that didn't need to be spent, have money spent on them. And, basically, I'm not going to fault Doge or even the president on this one. Congress hasn't acted in taking those suggestions and eliminating more of them than they should. So actually, I blame Congress for this more than I blame Doge or the president. And I think the House probably would eliminate a lot more spending. The Senate, I don't think the Republicans have the guts right now.
Hi, I'm Jen Wallner.
And I'm Rodney Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Rodney, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission rate?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
When's the best time to sell your home?
Right now. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
Chris Arps here, and I'm thankful for my relationship with Christ, my wonderful wife, Becky, and the opportunity to speak to the great listeners of News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo, and as we approach another holiday season, I am thankful that my family continues to be happy and healthy. Oh, and I'm also glad I don't work for George Soros.
News Talk STL, celebrating family and friends this season of Thanksgiving. Brought to you by Candici's, Parlor Donuts, and Amis Italian Restaurant and Pizzeria.
If you're worried about losing your health insurance through Medicaid, we have great news for you. New government regulations have expanded the Affordable Care Act. And now you may qualify to get health insurance for you and your family through the Affordable Care Act. Call now to learn if you qualify. We know the healthcare regulations regarding Medicaid, and we've helped thousands of people find quality, affordable health insurance. Plus, all our research is free to you. So call us. With just one call, we'll shop from hundreds of different insurance companies to find you the right affordable health insurance plan. So if you're worried about losing your Medicaid insurance, call right now. Speak with a licensed agent and find how you may qualify for a new health insurance plan.
800-479-0931. 800-479-0931. 800-479-0931. That's 800-479-0931. Paid for by the Health Insurance Hotline.
The Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council present the story of Tom and Levi.
Tom is the smartest man I know. He's been a professor at 2 major universities, been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, he told me that he was having problems in his classes. I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. And he was telling them that he was doing it as a favor to them. But I think in reality, he just wanted to get out of there. I was really starting to worry because I saw something that's wrong.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me, and my love for him was just immense.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. Amit Thomason. Attorney General Bondi is vowing to appeal a judge's ruling dismissing criminal cases against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James.
A federal judge concluded that the prosecutor who brought the charges at President Trump's urging was illegally appointed by the Justice Department. It's a sharp rebuke of the Trump administration's efforts to target the president's political opponents. The judge's order deals exclusively with the appointment of Lindsay Halligan as U.S. Attorney. She was a former White House aide with no prior prosecutorial experience and was tapped to lead one of DOJ's most elite offices. Greg Clugston, Washington.
The White House lashing out at those Democrat lawmakers who produced a video urging military service personnel to disobey orders from the commander-in-chief.
You can't have a functioning military if there is disorder and chaos within the ranks. And that's what these Democrat members were encouraging. It's very clear.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. The Pentagon is investigating Senator Mark Kelly's role in the video. Kelly's a retired Navy captain who could face court-martial proceedings. In the video, lawmakers talked about illegal presidential orders, but when they were pressed on the subject, none could identify any such orders. The White House says that's because there were none. Clean up, the order of the day in the Houston area after a tornado touched down in Harris County, damaging more than 100 homes. Trees came crashing down along with power lines, but no serious injuries reported. Russia launched a massive drone and missile attack on Ukraine's capital, Kiev, overnight. At least a half dozen people killed. A Ukrainian attack on southern Russia left at least 3 people dead there. On Wall Street this morning, the Dow futures are down 68 points. NASDAQ futures off 94. S&P futures down 13. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Right now in war-torn Ukraine, elderly Jews like Maria face a brutal winter and a constant search for food. She's 85 years old and lives alone. Maria is nearly blind and suffers from a broken hip. She's a Holocaust survivor. Her father and her brother were murdered by the Nazis. Maria still lives in her childhood home. There's no indoor plumbing, no heat. It's bitter cold. And today, like yesterday, Maria barely has enough food to survive. Her hunger is unbearable. She prays for warmth, for food, for someone to help her. And this winter, as snow falls and the nights grow longer, her hope fades with every passing day. She feels forgotten and desperately needs our compassion. And that's why I am grateful, deeply grateful for the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. For over 40 years, the fellowship and their supporters have been used by God to deliver boxes stuffed with nutritious food, cooking supplies, and other essentials to suffering and impoverished Jews like Maria. Support their great work at urgentifcj.org. That's urgentifcj.org.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shane Scotch with your first alert forecast this afternoon. Going to see highs climbing back towards the upper 50s, mostly cloudy skies. Could see a few spot showers as we head towards the evening hours. Then into Wednesday and Thursday, temperatures looking to continuously cool back down towards the mid to lower 40s. Looking pretty dry, a little bit more sunshine popping out, especially in Thanksgiving Thursday. Then Friday could see some chances of a rain and snow mix. We'll continue to watch that as we're going to see more chances as we head off towards the upcoming weekend. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shane Scotch.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli here with our great friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Hi, Chris.
How are you, Vic?
I don't want to put anybody else down, but that when you go up and visit you at Serenity Wealth, your place looks like home.
So a lot of financial advisory offices, they have, the big mahogany desk or the big marble entryways and things like that. The stock market channel on the TV when you walk in the door, right? That doesn't really drive a good conversation. Good financial guidance and advice starts with a good conversation. People are nervous. People are afraid to talk about finances, right? And so you can see a little standoffish. Well, my objective is to try to have a good casual conversation. By having those conversations about life, goals, objectives, it's what makes me understand what our financials are supposed to fund.
So if somebody does want to have a good conversation, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Our website is the best way to do that because you can get all the information you need to understand where we are, get a little bit more information, all that. SerenityWealthNow.com.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
News, analysis, opinion.
Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries have given in to the far left progressive base.
Has Mamdani won the soul of the Democrat Party?
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Is there anything in your life that is not Trauma Olympics?
Susie Moore.
Get out of here and stop playing victim.
Get up, St. Louis.
There's no crying in baseball.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up. This is your cousin.
All right, case dismissed against Comey and against Tish. What's next? Yeah, we'll get into that here in a second. Expect crowded airports and highways this week. It's going to be a lot of travel going on for Thanksgiving. A lot of us are traveling. So basically, everybody's saying, hey, start being patient now. Practice that. Meditate. Do the whatever you do to have your chill or your chi or whatever you do.
All benefit from that, couldn't we?
And the Blues do that thing the Blues have done so well this season. All right, it's 6:06. Let's go ahead and dump some news on you. You can guess what that is.
The morning news dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The morning news dump.
All right, the sheriff's lawyer asked the court to dismiss the case. The judge says no. Yep. Case against Alfred Montgomery continues today as the Attorney General's office continues its push to remove him from office. Closing arguments are expected to happen today, though. So one where the looks like
we're in the home stretch.
Yes, the proceedings part of this is going to wrap up this week. Montgomery remains in federal custody on an unrelated criminal case. And then at that point, it's completely up to the judge when to issue a ruling of any kind. And we don't know when that's going to be.
We do not.
Yeah.
And I, in all the years of practice and as long as I've known Judge Omer, I don't have a good feel for how long he takes to turn around a decision like this.
Yeah. And I would think something like the state trying to remove an elected official, the judge is going to want to be incredibly methodical. I would imagine even if he says, yeah, I see what's going on here. I see where this is going to go. You probably want to make sure you cross your T's and dot your I's and take a little extra time. So even if the judge wraps up the hearing and, okay, we're done with all of this, it's up to me, even if he knows what he's going to do. And I don't know how long judges ponder or if they're up there at some point and they just human nature goes, I see where this is going. Even if he's made up his mind right now, I doubt there's going to be a snap anything, probably after the holiday at the earliest.
Probably. What I don't think we're going to see is like a one-line decision.
Right.
I don't think he's going to rule from the bench, and I don't think he's going to issue just a one-line decision. Now, he could surprise us, but
yeah.
I suspect, given all the circumstances, that he's going to want an actual written opinion that's, be at least a few pages long explaining his reasoning.
And this being a civil case, it is still appealable, right? By both sides. I mean, if he says, nope, you didn't make your burden of proof, he can stay in the job. The state could appeal that. The Attorney General could appeal that. And if he rules that Montgomery has to be removed, I would think he would probably appeal that.
Yeah, unless there's some obscure provision I'm not familiar with. Yeah, there's no reason either side couldn't appeal.
Yeah. So, which could very well be what's going to happen, but we'll find out. All right. You probably heard the headlines here. A federal judge dismissed the indictments against former FBI Director James Comey and against New York Attorney General Letitia James on Monday, finding the indictments illegitimate because they were brought, in the judge's opinion, by an unqualified U.S. attorney. Comey responded to the matter on social media. He says the case is a message to the people and to the president.
This case mattered to me personally, obviously,
But it matters most because a message has to be sent that the President of the United States cannot use the Department of Justice to target his political enemies.
Okay. Did James Comey just talk about the Department of Justice should not be used to target his political enemies? Comey said that?
I'm reminded of a line from is it Airplane? No, not Airplane. Snakes on a Plane. What's I don't know. I can't think of the name of the darn movie. Steve Buscemi. In any event, define irony.
Right. Yeah. And he had said like this pseudo moral superiority when he was
Well, he
saying
always
it.
does.
I was like, are you listening to yourself?
Yeah, the guy's like 6'7", and he's always got his nose in the air whenever he's talking. So,
Precisely. All right. Obviously, Attorney General Pam Bondi not happy with that decision.
Lindsay Halligan, I talked to all of our U.S. attorneys, the majority of them around the country, and Lindsay Halligan is an excellent U.S. attorney, and shame on them for not wanting her in office.
Okay, so we're going to get into this in more depth right around 6:35 here, Susie, but I want to make one thing really clear. This isn't the end of the line for the indictment or the case at this point, right?
well, it's the end of the line for that indictment, but that can be
Right.
appealed. But this is not the end of the line. This is not the end of the story.
All right.
There's a lot more that could go on between now and the end of it all.
Kind of our go-to legal analyst, former prosecutor, Keith Gross, going to be with us right around 6:35.
Right.
Let's dig into this a little bit
Sure.
more. Okay, the Pentagon says it's investigating Democratic Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona over what they say could be possible breaches of military law, even though he's no longer a member of the military.
The investigation into the former Navy pilot stems from a video that featured several lawmakers calling for U.S. troops to defy illegal orders. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says Senator Kelly needs to be held accountable.
You can't have a functioning military if there's disorder and chaos within the ranks. And that's what these Democrat members were encouraging.
The Pentagon cited a federal law that allows retired service members to be recalled to active duty for possible court-martial or other measures. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Okay, so does that mean, and those of you who are listening or watching right now, those of you who've been in the military, does that mean at some point, once you have served, they can just call you back in at any point, even if you've completed your service and you have been honorably discharged? Is that a thing where the law that Greg's referring to there?
I think it has to do with if you retire from active duty versus, and I'm the wrong person to ask. I think there are some circumstances under which that does apply, and this Kelly would qualify for that. I just don't know what the parameters of that are.
And there are a variety of the free speech groups, both ones who are ostensibly on the left, but even some of those on the right, taking issue with the Department of, I guess this would be Department of Defense, or what the Trump administration calls Department of War.
The War Department,
War
yes.
Department, yeah. And so they're taking issue with this, saying it's a First Amendment issue.
Well, that's the defense you would always raise to something like this. I mean, that's just the smart legal avenue to raise.
Yeah. So we'll see whether they move forward with anything. That's going to be interesting to watch, if nothing else.
It is going to be interesting to watch. And one of the things you have to remember when you're talking about military type situations, there are different parameters that define like the extent of free speech.
Oh, they've got a whole different set of laws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, I'm going to be interested.
Going to be fascinating to see what happens with that. Okay. Department of Transportation urging everybody to prepare for a very busy Thanksgiving week, frankly, starting today.
Yeah.
Travel's going to start ramping up today here. Speaking at Newark Liberty International Airport, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy forecasting the busiest Thanksgiving travel week on record.
We're going to have a lot of travelers on the road, a lot on the rail, and we're going to have the busiest Thanksgiving season ever. And so it's going to, with that, it's going to be a bit congested. Let's be ready for that. And again, as the administrator said, come a little early. Don't be rushing through the airport because the lines might be a little bit longer.
Yeah, they've pretty much got things back up to normal after the shutdowns and that sort of thing, although there were a lot of delays out of Dallas yesterday for some reason. I'm not sure.
It was weather.
Oh, was it weather?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think there was like a tornado on the ground in the area.
That'll do it. That'll do it. But because there were over 100 flights that were stopped or delayed out of Dallas, which of course that's a major hub that affected stuff all over the country.
Being the weather nerd that I am, I follow a bunch of weather people on Twitter, and I saw like some stuff where there was like a guy who's a regular weather watcher who happened to be traveling through Dallas.
Yeah.
So
okay.
And by the way, that movie I was trying to think of was Con Air.
Oh, Con Air. Got that with the Cage, Nicolas Cage. Yep,
Steve
there you go.
Buscemi. Yeah,
that's right.
Define irony.
Okay, so speaking of Thanksgiving, the holidays are obviously can be filled with joy.
Oh yay.
They can be filled with stress.
Oh.
Yeah. So don't let the latter affect your health.
Medical experts warn the season's emotional load can affect both mental and physical well-being. Dr. Ravi Johar, a physician with the American Heart Association in St. Louis, says as holiday schedules get hectic, one of the things people sacrifice is sleep, and that's a mistake.
People usually need between 7 to 8 hours of sleep.
He notes the holidays can also intensify feelings of loneliness, especially for people who've lost loved ones, making it important to lean on people who truly help you recharge. Crystal Blair reporting.
And for a lot of other people, they're just going to deal with their family.
Which can be a source of joy and a source of stress.
I'm joking. I'm kid. I kid. Yeah. All right. The Blues take another L. They lost to the Rangers in New York Monday night. Final score 3-2. Today is a travel day for the team. They play the Devils in New Jersey on Wednesday. So get one more game in for the holiday.
One more chance at a win.
One more chance at a win. They're still looking for that third win for the entire month of November. Yeah.
All the ones depart, no destination, making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now. I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to you.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
And that would be a good time to respond with some applause.
Yes, it's been really hot and humid, but fall and winter right around the corner. Tim Jones here to tell you, time to get a hold of Chad Hansen and the gang at Hansen's Tree Service for your home or your business. Grinding, land clearing, green waste recycling, tree consulting, removal, or pruning. The organic mulch from Hansen's a wonderful addition to beautify and spruce up all your landscape beds. They offer substantial volume discounts for bulk orders and emergency tree removal. Just go to hansenstree.com. That's hansenstree.com.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Myella Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey, folks, it's Chris Salcedo, your liberty-loving Latino on Newsmax. Hey, everybody likes Mike. Mike Ferguson in the morning. Make sure you check it out. News Talk STL.
All right. We all want young people to have the best opportunity possible, right? Well, everybody in this room does. I mean, there are people who don't. But there's an idea being floated by Mayor Spencer that I think is really well-intentioned, but could it be putting the cart before the horse? St. Louis Business Journal had the article on this yesterday, I guess it was. It's kind of interesting. 618 right now. Okay, so what she is, and she, to be fair, the mayor is not putting this into like any legislation. She's not trying to budget for it. She's just saying, hey, wouldn't it be nice if here's something maybe we can work towards. So I don't want to put words in her mouth. So she's wanting somehow to have a program in the city that would pay for 1 year of secondary education for all St. Louis City public school graduates. And when, of course, she was asked the obvious question, well, how would you pay for that? She said, I don't know. It's just an idea. It will probably need some philanthropic work to get started. And she didn't specifically say, I want to put, millions of dollars of taxpayers' money on it. She didn't say it would be just private. She just said that she would love to have a goal. This could be, community college. This could be trade school. It could, something on there. So there's no specific proposal, but there's nothing wrong with an elected official saying, here's an idea. Let's chew on this as a goal. So I'm not criticizing her for that at all. But here's what I wonder, why I say, Susie, that I wonder if it's not putting the cart before the horse. Very, very few St. Louis City public school graduates can read, write, or do basic math anywhere in the zip code of their grade level. So before we say, hey, every one of them should get one opportunity for 1 year, and that could be vocational training or whatever, shouldn't the focus be, well, how about we get a point to where we're pretty confident these kids are going to have the ability to succeed in any sort of secondary education before we say somebody's going to pay for it for them?
Yeah, I mean, it could be a situation where you embrace the power of
Right.
because obviously there are some kids who are graduating from St. Louis public schools who are looking to go on to that next level, and I don't, while we don't know what that would actually look like, I think the idea is not necessarily a bad one, depending, but the focus, definitely the primary focus, needs to be on making sure that the kids that are getting their public education in the city of St. Louis are actually getting educated to the point where they are at grade level. They
Right.
are competent in those basic skills. And if we have limited resources and limited attention span, I would say that the focus needs to be on that first. Yes.
Yeah. That's why I ask about the cart before the horse kind of situation
yeah.
on this. And by the way, she did make it clear that her idea, this would be only for St. Louis public school graduates. Now, whether or not they would consider the charter schools, because charter schools are public schools,
Yeah.
but a lot of the teachers, unions, activists, they don't like to look at it that way, but they are public schools. But if you go to one of the private schools, you would not qualify for this, even if you lived your entire life in the city of St. Louis.
Right.
So to some degree, it would be discriminatory, as in it would only be for those who went through the public school system and survived that.
This feels like one of those luxury beliefs again, because
I agree. Explain what you mean by that, but I agree.
So a luxury belief, for those that are not familiar with the term, is when you live such a cushioned or comfortable or in your own bubble sort of lifestyle that you believe something to be true because it makes you feel good to believe that if it were that way, it would come true and it would be great. And then if it backfires and fails horrifically, well, it doesn't affect you anyway. So again, the kids in private schools and homeschool outperform public school kids for a number of different reasons, a lot of which, I mean, there's a lot of different, too much time for me to go into, but it sounds like you're doing this backwards. You're saying, look, the kids that are coming from public education, which we have remedial classes in colleges now.
Harvard has remedial math. Harvard has remedial classes,
because public schools are failing the kids so hard that they are not even at their own grade level when it comes to reading, writing, arithmetic, all that good stuff. So then you're going to say, well, we're going to provide these people a free year of second. Well, how does that make sense when it's the kids that are in private school that are statistically more likely to complete and go above and beyond not only undergrad, but graduate degrees to begin with? Why not help them get ahead and say, look, we will help you guys with trade school. We'll help you guys, with something else over here. But it just doesn't feel right to me. We are subsidizing underachievers.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for giving the opportunity, but there should be some threshold to where we say, okay, before anybody's money gets invested in this, public or private, there needs to be something that gauges that there's a liklikelihood of success there.
Well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to throw people who aren't prepared for it into a new situation.
I don't want to pay for a failed 13th grade when 12th grade was a failure.
Well,
too,
right. And I mean, my assumption is that Spencer's proposal is contemplating people who are at least, able to graduate and operating at close to, if not above grade level because those are the people that are likely to try and go on to
Right.
further education. But I do think, like I said, if time and money were
Yeah.
we're not in short supply, I'd say let's do both. You can do both. There's two different things going on here, but I really do think that the emphasis needs to be on shoring up our, primary and secondary education facilities in St. Louis and making sure those kids are actually getting
Yeah.
their education that we're all
Yep.
paying for.
Well, which is another reason why I think it's such a moral imperative that we maximize school choice as quickly as possible. For this very reason, because we know that there are kids who are pushed through the system. They've got a diploma and can't read a word on it.
Yeah.
We know that happens in St. Louis City. But here's the thing: here's what I do like about her line of thinking on this is that she wasn't saying we're going to pay for the first year of college. Now that may be, she did say possibly community college, but she also said like vocational training.
Right.
So if somebody says, I want to go be an EMT or a paramedic.
Right.
Okay. Well, something like that would be covered. I want to go into the trades. Okay. Well, there's Votech. I mean, Rankin does all kinds of great work.
Absolutely.
There's, somebody wants to be a cosmetologist. They want to, do hairstyling. There are those schools that are accredited and legitimate. And like, I got no issue to say, if we're going to do this, and again, she's talking about possibly philanthropic private donations with some kind of system. And she may be just saying, hey, St. Louis business community, can you step up? And so I like the idea that she's not limiting it to just a traditional 4-year college university.
Absolutely. I mean, because the whole point of higher education is to equip people to go out into the workforce.
Right.
And to have the skills they need in order to obtain, decent employment. So why wouldn't you want to lean into that, whether that is in the trades or community college or regular college?
Well, and on that note as well, because I've been very vocal about my dissatisfaction with my college experience. And the jobs report that I just saw recently from Q3 of this year was that 30% of all unemployed are college graduates. So if it was something in the lines of, one, we raise the standard, you have to perform at this level, regardless of if you graduate, but you meet these requirements, because I do think that there are people that have been born into very unfortunate circumstances that have worked so hard to get to where they're at. And if not for just a little bit of good grace, they could have gone. That totally happens, but that's the exception of the rule, not the rule. If it was something where we're going to provide this sort of benefits from private donors or from scholarships or something like that, but only for fields where we are already lacking. And this is why we are seeing an increase in H-1B when President Trump's saying we don't have the talent here that we need. We will subsidize that, and we will get the students that can hit this mark regardless of what their GPA was, and then we will help you with your first year of college and help you get into that. I think that would be a much better, but this doesn't sound like that.
Let's grow and foster.
She's kind of got such a wide open. She basically did a conversation starter, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
It's under this conversation.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We should.
Yeah. I
Should
mean,
invite her on.
I would just encourage it to be, because, to be broader, instead of saying only for St. Louis public school students. But if the idea is you want to increase the workforce, keep them here to build an economy of a city that's dying, to build businesses, that sort of thing, then don't limit the kids. Don't limit something to only the kids who have been in the worst possible education. I understand wanting to give extra opportunity for those who have been 2 or 3 blocks behind the starting point. I get that. But the reality is that if you want to build businesses, you want the higher skilled workforce, look to the kids who have already done the work and know, we know that they're competent to go to the next level. At least open it to all of the above.
Yeah.
Not just limited, because there's nothing special whatsoever about the St. Louis City public school system. Nothing. It's a failure from top to bottom, right to left to right.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this is an attempt to address that, but it's like you said, cart before the horse.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, of course, in just about a half an hour, we're going to be talking about teachers unions trying to stop the opportunities that could get kids to that point,
of course,
where they could be ready for that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really insidious on that as well. But, even if I do think the mayor maybe is putting that cart before the horse a little bit, I do like her line of thinking on this, especially when she goes, if it's not a taxpayer thing, maybe we can coordinate and direct some philanthropy to that.
Right.
I got no issue with saying, let's at least talk about it.
Yeah. think outside the box.
Yeah.
It's not just about, asking for more money from the taxpayers. I
Right.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
Especially coming from a progressive.
Right. And also, this is an area where she was talking to a lot of business leaders at this event she was at.
Yeah.
And so there is something in it for the businesses there. But now it's going to be down the road. So what she's saying is, let's talk about like making an investment so that maybe you've got more people to hire.
I was going to say, it's in their interest to have a good pool of people to choose from to be their employees.
Yeah, that's why there's even some companies. I don't know if AT&T still does this, but at one point they created their own online school.
Yeah.
Their own online university. I don't know if it's still there or not, but they used to do that years
Sure.
ago. And there were companies that were doing that, saying the public schools just aren't generating talented people with the skill sets that we need, which is like to the thing you were talking about, Jerome. The reality is that they're in some of these IT high-tech fields. In some cases, we don't have enough homegrown talent to fill those jobs because we're screwing these kids over with a failed K through 12 education system. But if we want the companies based here, they got to be able to have people to put in the jobs here. That's just a reality of the economy, unfortunately, and the reality of the failed public education system.
Speaking of realities, a legal reality is that old Tish and Jim Comey got a little bit of a break yesterday with the judge dismissing the cases against them. We're going to talk about that more when we come back at 6:35.
It was a clean shot to the kidneys, and I turned back, and there was
Susie Moore on NewsTalkSTL. Colombo and Company.
A federal judge threw out the indictments against James Comey and Letitia James. We'll discuss the details Tuesday with our legal expert, Susie Moore, plus Crane Durham from NothingButTruth.com.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on NewsTalkSTL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shane Scotch with your first alert forecast this afternoon. Going to see highs climbing back towards the upper 50s, mostly cloudy skies. Could see a few spot showers as we head towards the evening hours. Then into Wednesday and Thursday, temperatures looking to continuously cool back down towards the mid to lower 40s. Looking pretty dry, a little bit more sunshine popping out, especially in Thanksgiving Thursday. Then Friday could see some chances of a rain and snow mix. We'll continue to watch that as we're going to see more chances as we head off towards the upcoming weekend. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shane Scotch.
A lot of times this is when we start talking about the financial priorities for the year. And a lot of times that means we need to look at the things we invest in that take care of us. Mike Ferguson here from my friends at TB Exteriors. For instance, St. Louis storms, man, they seem to be happening more often. They seem to be increasing in intensity. Just go back to the tornado for that sort of thing. Now, these things happen in cycles. We'll have some years where it's pretty easy going. Other years, man, we're going to get hard. And we're just having a lot of those lately. But here's the thing. That means that your roof absorbs a lot of wear and tear. Even in good years, it absorbs a lot of wear and tear over those years, season after season. That means it may be time to replace it. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is. Mike Ferguson here for TB Exteriors. With over 20 years of combined experience, TB Exteriors has been providing roofing and gutter work and siding and window exteriors throughout the entire St. Louis metro area. And by the way, this is really important. This is one of the things that they've gotten really good at. They will assist you with those roofing insurance claims. That tree falls and hits, that ice storm hits and tears something off, God forbid the tornado or the thunderstorm, they will help you get that insurance claim through so you can make your house, your building whole again. So whether it is prompt storm repair, whether you need a complete roof replacement or you need a new installation, TB Exteriors will handle that for you. They provide top-notch service. This is quality they can trust. So call TB Exteriors at 636-362-9503, or it may be easier to remember this, tbexteriors.com. tbexteriors.com. You can schedule a free estimate on your home or your business as well. And here's the thing. If they get there and your roof is fine, they're going to tell you it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's a free estimate. And then you know that these are the people you can trust. tbexteriors.com.
Jamie Allman here, tossing and turning over retirement worries. You're not alone. 3 out of 4 Americans share your concern about having enough saved. But here's the thing. A comfortable retirement isn't out of reach, even if you're planning for 30 or 40 years ahead. Every day, Jeff Portman from the Gemini Wealth Group helps people avoid the critical mistakes that can derail their retirement. Build your path to financial confidence. Visit GeminiWealthGroup.com or call Jeff directly at 314-888-0123.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
We talk about race relations.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
And I'm sick and tired of it.
1019 and 94.1.
I find it to be a conversation starter.
News Talk STL.
I'm just a step away. I'm just a breath away. Losing my faith today.
Good morning, St. Louis. Hey, it's Vince from The Vince Show right here on News Talk STL every weeknight at 8. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
All right, I'm gonna start with part of the conclusion here that we're going to work to. This does not mean that the case against them is over, because there's a lot of people on the right who are really angry about the news of the cases being dismissed against Comey and against Letitia James. But it is a setback for the prosecution of those two in those separate cases.
They're only mostly dead.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about what that actually means in terms that all of us can understand and try to filter out the sort of tribalism and just get to what's actually happening here. Keith Gross joins us right now, kind of our go-to legal analyst for things like this, former assistant state attorney, former prosecutor for the state of Florida. Of course, the book, which is already up in the News Talk STL bookstore, by the way, if you want to check that out. It is called Dirt Roads to Runways: Defending the American Dream for the Next Generation. Keith, good to chat with you again. So let me start with the basics of the ruling itself. This did not say they're innocent. This didn't say not guilty. This said that basically the wrong person is pursuing the case. So kind of fill in the blanks as to how that judge got from point A to whatever point this is.
Yeah, as you pointed out, they didn't get to the merits of the case. It's not about are they guilty or not. This is what most people would talk about when they fuss about technicalities and someone getting off. So the judge ruled that because the acting U.S. attorney, so the prosecutor that brought the information to the grand jury, was improperly appointed. So the judge concludes that if the U.S. attorney who brought the information to the grand jury was improperly appointed, then the indictments themselves are all invalid. It ignores, of course, the point that the acting U.S. attorney did not issue the indictment. A grand jury did. And it also hinges on a law passed by Congress quite a while back that gives district court judges, not the president or the attorney general, the right to appoint acting U.S. attorneys. So there's certainly some litigation ahead as to whether or not that law is valid, because it's quite an absurd position to say that Congress can give the court system the right to choose someone that works in the executive branch instead of allowing the executive to choose who works in the executive branch.
Yeah, Keith, in watching, this is Susie Moore, by the way, in looking at some of the coverage of this, I know that there's a lot of discussion about whether or not, obviously, the judge's decision is right on this, whether that law is a permissive type situation that just allows the courts to do that, or that's an exclusive right that they have. And the administration has indicated that they plan to appeal this ruling, which I would expect we'll probably see an appeal, on file today or tomorrow. But I guess there's another way they could approach this too. And wouldn't that be just to refile with a with a unquestionably properly appointed attorney?
Well, first of all, to refile, they can only refile one of them.
Right.
Let's start there. Letitia James is within the statute of limitations for the crime she is alleged to have committed. James Comey is not. James Comey's statute of limitations has expired. And while these dismissals were both dismissals without prejudice, which generally on its face, a dismissal without prejudice means you can refile. A dismissal with prejudice would mean you are not allowed to refile. It's over. So both of these were dismissed without prejudice. They're allowed to be refiled, but James Comey's statute of limitations has expired. So he will get away with this if the Trump administration is unsuccessful in appealing this judge's interpretation of the validity of the original indictments.
Okay, so I've been seeing some discussion and looked at a statutory provision. I can't remember. It's like 28 USC 2338 or something that talks about an extension. Basically, the statute of limitations having a 6-month extension if it was filed timely before the dismissal, that there's a 6-month extension there, that a window in which they could refile.
There will be some procedural arguments around that, and there is a chance that it can be resurrected and extended, as you pointed out, but I wouldn't rest my hat on that if I was the prosecution. I think they've got to win this appeal because, you know, the interesting thing here is a separation of powers argument, and that's something that the Trump administration has brought to the forefront repeatedly because the Trump administration's position is, look, I don't care if it's been done wrong for the last 30 years. We're going to look at the Constitution and start doing it like the Constitution says now. So back some time, Congress passed a law. It's 28 USC 546, and it allows district court judges, not the attorney general, to appoint interim U.S. attorneys when a vacancy arises. That doesn't pass constitutional muster just on a plain reading because the entire power of the executive branch is vested in the executive himself. A district court judge doesn't have the power to appoint an executive branch appointee any more than the president has the power to start dictating, you know, the menu for the cafeteria in Congress. You can't start micromanaging another branch. You've got to stay in your lane. And so we're going to see some separation of powers arguments brought before the Supreme Court. And I think a lot of folks, including me, are hoping that the Supreme Court will begin to pull these branches back into their own lanes.
We're visiting with Keith Gross. The book, by the way, Dirt Roads to Runways, Defending the American Dream for the Next Generation. You can find that at the NewsTalk STL bookstore. Just go to the NewsTalk STL website and click News and More, drop down, and goes right to the bookstore. Okay, fill in a little bit for those of us who are not lawyers here. The question which you've described succinctly here, Keith, is that the problem is the federal prosecutor, the interim federal prosecutor. They're being told she should have never been in that job to start with. The time had run out. How, under the current interpretation of the rules, whether they challenge that or whether they overturn that or not, how is that possible that they say the person who is appointed to a federal prosecutor's job can only do it for so long? And why wasn't somebody else put in there? I mean, if the rule is bad, but it's the rule, then why wasn't that person either confirmed the right way, or why wasn't somebody else put in there?
Well, we've seen it happening in New Jersey is a great example. We've seen where the president has chosen who he wants to work as his delegate to be the chief federal prosecutor in New Jersey. And the senator who is of New Jersey has done what they call, I think, a blue slip challenge, an objection. So there's this standing tradition. It's not even really a rule. It's a tradition in the Senate where if the home state senator objects to a president's nominee, then that nominee is held and can't be confirmed. And that's what happened with New Jersey. So President Trump could not get his chosen prosecutor confirmed by the Senate in New Jersey. So he appointed another one. And then there was arguments with the courts, again, with the courts asserting that the court, not the president, has the authority to appoint the presidential appointee. So this sort of problem only really happens where there is a Senate confirmation process, like you're talking about, where there's only a short period of time where an acting appointee can basically do the job while waiting for a Senate confirmation. What's happening here is the president had someone in the office that wasn't doing the job. He fired them, replaced them with someone else. While that person was pending confirmation before the Senate, they were the acting nominee. And the acting nominee did the job like they're supposed to do. They brought the evidence to a grand jury. The grand jury said, this looks like enough to issue an indictment. Here you go. And now the judge is saying, but the wrong person signed the paperwork. We don't think that's allowed.
Yeah, Keith, we're seeing that even in California with Bill O'Reilly as well, where you've got a blue state. So you've got blue state senators who are basically gumming up the works and preventing, through the blue slip process, these appointees from being confirmed. And then it's a catch-22 for the administration. What other ways can Congress work to get move past that? I mean, there's been a lot of talk about nuking the filibuster. What about nuking the blue slip?
They can certainly nuke the blue slip. I think they should. There's a lot of things Congress can do on the top line to rein in some of these activist judges that are basically doing the deep state's bidding.
Mm-hmm.
They can start impeaching these judges. These judges are not entitled to their seat for life. They're entitled to their seat for life on good behavior and on the continued consent of Congress. Congress can withdraw that consent and impeach and remove them anytime they want. So if Congress wants to get serious about reining in activist judges, they need to start impeaching them. And the closest I've seen them come is recently when a bunch of senators were very surprised to find that their phone records were being spied on. I don't know why they're surprised, because they've been voting to have all of us spied on for years.
Yeah,
they're just surprised it actually happened to them too.
Yeah.
I like that.
100% true. Absolutely.
Interesting.
So, there's a lot of things Congress can do. They can start restricting funds. They can change the jurisdictional allotment of these district court judges, because they don't have constitutional jurisdiction. They have the jurisdiction granted to them by Congress.
Right.
And they can also seek to repeal laws like 28 U.S.C. 546, because the law that purports to give the executive branch's authority to another branch, that law was void the moment it was written and signed. Hopefully the Supreme Court will find that and in fact void it. But there's nothing that says Congress can't go ahead and do the job now. They don't have to sit on their hands and wait for the Supreme Court to clean up the mess. They're allowed to clean up their own mess.
Okay, just last minute or so we've got, Keith. I just want to get your reaction to this. In our news dump a little bit ago, I played a soundbite from James Comey responding to this, saying this is a good ruling because the Department of Justice should never be used to be weaponized against the president's opponent. And he actually said that with a straight face.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there is the irony that none of this was an issue until they tried to lock up President Trump with made-up charges and went out of their way to bend statutes of limitation and passed a special law in New York to find ways to get Trump, when we had Attorney General James campaigning on her promise to, if you elect me, I will get Trump.
Yep.
And now they say, no, don't prosecute us. The reality is there was a grand conspiracy. There is a deep state. They were gunning for President Trump all along. They were making stuff up. They were spying on a sitting president. And if you go through the facts, you'll see that they are the ones that committed fraud and committed crimes. One FBI agent already went to jail for lying to the FISA court to get an illegal spying warrant on the Trump administration before they were even in office back in the first term. So, yeah, it's a bit rich to see him speak with a straight face and allege that he's being improperly politically targeted. This isn't about political prosecution. This is about cleaning up the corrupt deep state bureaucrats.
All right. Keith Gross, once again, thanks so much for the time and the insight here, and have a fantastic Thanksgiving, as I suspect we won't talk to you again until after the holiday.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to all y'all.
Thanks, Keith. You know, the trial against St. Louis City Sheriff Alfred Montgomery to remove him from his office is, we think, going to wrap up today. So we're going to talk about that when we come back for the news dump.
I'm just a step away, I'm just a breath away, losing my faith today. I am just a man, not superhuman. I'm not superhuman. Someone save me from the hate.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
My opinion is it's weird.
On NewsTalkSTL.
This app is absolutely fantastic. Yes, I listen on my phone.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
It is awesome.
Download the all-new NewsTalkSTL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros and Exteriors, your all-in-one service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. Christine and I discovered Gutter Pros and Exteriors when we bought our home and inherited a gutter problem. And they've also repaired siding damage on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, The Gutter Pros team are also the best for repairing other exterior damage, including fascia, soffit, and all siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros and Exteriors can help your home or business right now at gutterpros.com.
License number E2014A.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Dad, that's what Grandpa Rip always said.
That's right. 50 years ago, Grandpa started Grasser, and whenever a customer called, he'd smile and say, "Hey, it's good to see you."
Hey, it's good to see you.
It was his way of treating people like neighbors, not numbers. That's why we still say it today.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeServices.com.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
I love that you're starting your day off right with Mike Ferguson in the Morning. It's your boy Joe Pags. Talk to you tonight. But now let's get back to Mike.
All right. The trial of, one of the trials of the sheriff could wrap up today, but that doesn't mean we get an answer today. Also, expect crowded airports and highways this week because there's going to be a lot of people traveling. And the Blues do the Blues thing.
Yeah.
It happened again.
Oh.
All right. 650. I don't even have to say what it is. We just know. We just know. All right. 650 right now. Let's go and dump some news on you here.
Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news. The morning news dump.
Okay. The sheriff's lawyer asked the court to dismiss the case. The judge says no. Susie, is that pretty procedural in the civil case? The judge or the attorney at one point just goes, "They got nothing. Can we just go home now? I'm hungry."
You're not doing your job if you don't do that. Yes. There's several stages along the way where you have to move to dismiss to preserve everything for appeal.
So there was really nothing to read into deeply when the judge goes, "No, we're going to see this thing through."
Not at all. That's just a normal part of the process.
Just the way it goes. All right. So the case against Alfred Montgomery continues today as the Attorney General's office continues its push to remove him from office. Closing arguments, though, are expected to happen today. Montgomery remains in a separate matter in federal custody on unrelated criminal charges. And at least they're letting him get all gussied up and go to the court. So he's getting out of jail, at least for a little while each day.
Bright spot. Silver lining.
Something. There's something there. Yeah. All right. Okay. Follow up that conversation we just had with Keith Gross. And by the way, if you want to send that to your friends and colleagues and say, if you at least want to understand what's going on, that's the conversation to do that. That'll be up on our podcast here in a few hours or so, I suspect.
Yeah. Give me about 30 minutes.
Okay, great. So you can get that. And even if they're on the left and they love the ruling, at least they're going to understand the legalities of it. So you can talk about it intelligently.
And because it's early and I don't have all my coffee ingested yet, my recollection of the code provision I was talking about to him was completely wrong. It's 18 USC 3288 that has to do with the extension of time past the statute.
Well, that's exactly what I thought I was getting. No, I haven't.
Come on, Susie.
I hate when I get stuff like that wrong. Darn it.
All right. So a federal judge dismisses the indictments against former FBI Director James Comey and against New York Attorney General Letitia James, saying that they were illegitimate because they were brought by what the ruling says is an unqualified U.S. attorney. Comey responded to that on social media.
"I'm innocent. I am not afraid. And I believe in an independent federal judiciary, the gift from our founders that protects us from a would-be tyrant."
Okay, so Caroline Leavitt, White House press secretary, asked about the ruling.
We believe the attorney in this case, Lindsay Halligan, is not only extremely qualified for this position, but she was, in fact, legally appointed. And I know the Department of Justice will be appealing this in very short order. So maybe James Comey should pump the brakes on his victory lap.
Now, here's one thing that I was surprised by the conversation we just had with Keith a second ago, Susie, is that he says, no, this could mean Comey is basically off the hook because of the statute of limitations. And so there's a whole other argument as to whether, or that's going to play into the arguments, essentially.
It will. And his attorneys, if they're doing their job right, should raise that. I think there's a provision, a statutory provision, the one that I was just talking about, that allows for a 6-month window after a dismissal if it was brought timely before. That before we get to that point, they should appeal, and they are going to appeal the judge's ruling from the get-go that says that the indictment was invalid on the basis that Keith was explaining.
So once again, the News Talk STL podcast, make sure you're subscribed to Mike Ferguson in the morning. All right. Pentagon says it's investigating Senator Mark Kelly, Democrat out of Arizona, over possible breaches of military law. And to make a clarification point, this would be years after he left serving in the military.
The investigation into the former Navy pilot stems from a video that featured several lawmakers calling for U.S. troops to defy illegal orders. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says Senator Kelly needs to be held accountable.
You can't have a functioning military if there's disorder and chaos within the ranks. And that's what these Democrat members were encouraging.
The Pentagon cited a federal law that allows retired service members to be recalled to active duty for possible court-martial or other measures. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Okay, this if they pursue this, so we don't know that they're actually going to pursue it. It's going to be a fascinating clash of legal frameworks.
It certainly is, because you're going to have your standard framework and you've got the military framework.
Yep. All right. Department of Transportation urging everybody to prepare a little bit early and be patient. Here's Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy forecasting a very busy Thanksgiving travel season.
We're going to have a lot of travelers on the road, a lot on the rail, and we're going to have the busiest Thanksgiving season ever. And so it's going to, with that, it's going to be a bit congested. Let's be ready for that. And again, as the administrator said, come a little early. Don't be rushing through the airport because the lines might be a little bit longer.
Okay, the travel season really ramps up today. Yeah, so I expect at the airport or on the highways, people are kind of heading out, like literally today. Probably here in the next little bit, people are going to start heading to grandma's house.
That's true. Over the river and through the woods.
Pretty much, and through the construction out in the Warrenton area. All right, if you could ban something from Thanksgiving dinner, what would you outlaw? There's a survey published on savings.com and ask people about that.
I'm going to make people really mad.
All right, do it.
Dressing.
Okay. Oh, okay. Interesting.
I actually don't have an answer because I really like everything I get served. So
you're like food.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no answer.
Okay. So 40% say they would ban green bean casserole.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
So in my family, you get banned if you don't bring it.
Oh, okay. 35% would outlaw cranberry sauce.
What?
Yes, I thought
don't
the
like
same
it, but
thing.
it's not offensive enough for me to ban it.
16% say they would ban the sweet potato dish, which means 16% of those who surveyed are wrong.
That was my second choice. I don't like sweet potatoes.
All of you are uninvited.
I love the sweet potato thing with all like the marshmallow toasty stuff on it. And
No, I don't like it.
Oh, okay.
There ought to be a law.
I know. I'm a terrible person.
Oh man. All right. Let the debate commence.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are 80 some days away from what really matters. Pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training.
Okay.
But in the meantime, another season actually starts this weekend. The Ambush kick off their indoor soccer season on Friday. Have you ever been to one of those games? They're fun.
I don't think I haven't.
Yeah, they really are. They're fun. So Friday, they start the season against their rival. They're hosting Kansas City at the Family Arena.
Fun.
Yeah, 5:05 kickoff at the Family Arena. Tickets are actually pretty inexpensive for that. More information at stlambush.com. Blues lost to the Rangers in New York Monday night. Final score 3-2. Today is a travel day for the team. They play the Devils in New Jersey on Wednesday.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. These pills work for men and women to improve their sexual performance. And now for the price of 2 or 3 pills, you can get nearly 100. There's no need to pay expensive prices for Viagra or Cialis. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Change your life for the better and have fun. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. That's 800-631-2030.
To every referee, umpire, and judge in high school sports, we want to say, we see you.
We see everything you do for us that goes unnoticed.
We see the positive role models that you are.
We see the way you get unfairly criticized just for doing your job.
The truth is, we couldn't play without you.
So thank you for investing your time in us.
Thank you for protecting the integrity of the game, no matter what.
We hope you always know how much we appreciate you.
Because without you, this is just recess. It's not really a game.
Thank you for always making it possible for us to play the sports we love.
Want to serve the students in your community? Sign up to become an official in Missouri at highschoolofficials.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. In the air, on the roads, and the rails, Americans by the tens of millions are on the move, or will soon be, for the Thanksgiving holiday.
Millions will stick with trains, buses, and cars, especially after the government shutdown threw air travel into chaos.
There may be some people who said, you know what, I want to avoid airports altogether. I'm going to drive my own vehicle, and I'm going to do a road trip instead. So we're projecting at least 73 million people, but that number could end up being higher because more people now potentially are switching to road trips.
AAA says the good news for drivers, the national average for gas last year was $3.06 for regular, and that hasn't really changed. Happy travels. I'm Julie Walker.
A retired Navy captain, Democrat Senator Mark Kelly, may face court-martial. Stems from his role in that Democrat video urging service members to disobey illegal orders from President Trump. None of those involved in the video have been able to identify any such orders.
Not a single one of them, since they've been pressed by the media, and I'll give you guys credit for that, can point to a single illegal order that this administration has given down, because it does not exist. They knew what they were doing in this video, and Senator Mark Kelly and all of them should be held accountable for that.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. They're off the hook, at least for now. Judge tossing the indictments of former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James. The judge ruled the prosecutor was illegally appointed and therefore lacked the authority to indict. Attorney General Bondi says, yes, there will be an appeal. Later today, a White House tradition plays out yet again. President Trump will pardon a couple of Thanksgiving turkeys. The birds named Gobble and Waddle will be spared. On Wall Street this morning, stock futures have turned positive now. Dow futures are up 22 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 2. More on these stories at townhall.com.
They say timing is everything in the gold and silver markets, and it's true. Dennis Prager here for AmFed Coin and Bullion. Although you can buy at the right time, if you buy the wrong coins, you may not make a profit. When gold was $400 an ounce, many people were talked into buying high-grade old gold and silver collector's coins. Unfortunately, most of the people who bought these so-called semi-numismatic coins, like the $20 St. Gordon's and Liberty Head gold coins, have not broken even on their investment. Incredible. given that gold has risen approximately 525% since then. So while timing is everything, if you buy the wrong coins, the timing simply doesn't matter. Having a dealer who cares about positioning you in the right types of coins or bullion will mean more to your portfolio than anything else. That's why I deal with Nick Rovich and AmFed Coin and Bullion. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. Or go to AmericanFederal.com, AmericanFederal.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shane Scotch with your first alert forecast this afternoon. Going to see highs climbing back towards the upper 50s, mostly cloudy skies. Could see a few spot showers as we head towards the evening hours. Then into Wednesday and Thursday, temperatures looking to continuously cool back down towards the mid to lower 40s. Looking pretty dry, a little bit more sunshine popping out, especially in Thanksgiving Thursday. Then Friday could see some chances of a rain and snow mix. We'll continue to watch that as we're going to see more chances as we head off towards the upcoming weekend. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shane Scotch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewsTalkSTL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
This holiday season, help Feed My People fill the shelves. News Talk STL and the STL County GOP are partnering for an annual food drive, November 10th through December 21st. Drop off your non-perishable food donations at all Bartolino's restaurants, all Chris's Pancakes and dining locations, and all 3 Michaels Flooring outlets, or at the News Talk STL studios.
Hey, it's Chris Arps, and together, we can make a difference for families in need.
Visit NewsTalkSTL.com for complete drop-off locations. Mike Ferguson.
I'm a stud. I'm ballsy. I don't take no from anyone.
Susie Moore.
I disagree on his assessment of the situation.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice. Drain the swamp and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now. Believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
All right, we made a little progress towards more opportunities for kids in Missouri.
Yes.
You know, I want to give the legislature, credit for doing what they've done so far. I still am one of those that would love to see, universal school choice and joining states like Arizona to do that. I don't know why we don't have that with such a deep red, overwhelmingly Republican legislature, but we'll take the baby steps for what they are.
Sure.
So here's the deal. The teachers union wants to put an end to that opportunity, and the whole thing's in court now.
Okay.
Yeah, started yesterday. They'll likely wrap up the trial part of it today, at least the arguments on that. We're now joined by Chris Voss from our friends at the Herzog Foundation. So, Chris, let's lay the groundwork here. What is it that the teachers union is challenging? So what I'm reading, and please correct me if I'm wrong on this, is that they're not trying to outlaw the Most Scholars program, but they're trying to outlaw part of the funding for it. And of course, that funding is what allows the Most Scholars program to provide more education opportunities.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. You are absolutely correct. The teachers union is not saying that the Most Scholars program itself should be banned, but instead the $50 million that the General Assembly and the governor signed into law in this past year's budget, they are saying that it's illegal for the state legislature, whose job is to appropriate funds. They're saying it is illegal for them to appropriate funds towards the program. And those funds have allowed thousands of additional parents and students to seek the educational opportunity that's going to allow them to be successful. And so it's really sad to see the teachers union who, by all accounts, shut down our schools during COVID. They've been extremely political. They're working, to transition young kids. And instead of working to educate the children of this state, many of which cannot read. They are spending their time and effort suing families that are seeking speech therapy, therapy for students with special needs, and students that are in a failing school district, oftentimes in St. Louis or Kansas City, and all they're trying to do is go to a school where they can be successful.
So, Chris, this is a little bit wonky here, but is this a matter of the Most Scholars program started as a scholarship program, a tax credit program, and now they're arguing it's a voucher program? So they just arguing that now that it's more of a voucher program because the state's funding it directly, that crossed the line, whereas they didn't like the tax credit program before. But it seems to me that they're arguing, well, now you pass the threshold. I think they're wrong either way, but is that what the argument generally is?
Yes, they're saying that statutorily, the program is not allowed to accept general revenue from the state budget, which is a nonsense article. As the state and the attorney for the parents that are in the suit have argued, the law does not say that the General Assembly is unable to appropriate funds to the scholarship program. The law is silent on it. And we know that the state legislature absolutely has the statutory and constitutional authority to appropriate funds. And so, on behalf of the parents that have joined the suit, who will be harmed if this program is ended, and on behalf of the state, they feel really strong in that argument. And you're right, the trial should wrap up today, and hopefully we'll have some answers for these thousands of families later this week.
Chris, is this one of those cases that's pending like in Cole County in state court?
Correct.
Okay. So, and I don't know which judge it's in front of, but I guess I guess you've laid out what their legal argument is in theory. But what is the real, I mean, what are they really arguing? In other words, to sell their position to the public,
Right.
What are the unions saying? This is why we're fighting this. Like,
Because they're literally saying we're fighting against an opportunity to take your kids somewhere else.
right. They've got to have some reason they're putting out there as supporting why they're doing it.
Correct. Their goal is that every student is trapped in the school that has been zoned for them locally. So, if you're in a great school district, fantastic. You're going to be able to receive a fantastic education. But if you happen to be one of those kids that are in these school districts run by dysfunctional boards and where, 70 to 80% of the kids cannot read at grade level, well, that's just too bad. You're stuck there, and there's nothing you can do as a parent or student to better your position in life. And their argument to the public, which they've been saying time and time again, is they're taking money away from your public schools to give it to these students. And it's just not true. Last year, the public school, through the foundation formula, received the largest increase ever in the state of Missouri's history. The public schools have more money than they can spend right now, and it's billions and billions and billions of dollars. But they're upset that these kids who are in failing school districts are getting $50 million, across thousands and thousands of students, so that they can go to a different school. And so it's completely nonsensical. The Most Scholar students are not taking money from the public schools. The public schools are flush with cash.
Yeah. So, Chris, that's where I was gonna go with this. I'm glad you brought that up. In that, if they, God forbid, were to win this and strike down the legislature's funding of it, that's not going to go into the government schools anyway. So just nobody gets it. It just goes back into the till to be divvied up somewhere else. I mean, it's not like that they're going to get additional funding if they stop parents from getting this money.
Correct. If they were to be successful, which is doubtful, but if they were, the money would just go back into the state treasury. It would not go to the public schools. It would not go to any schools. It would be sitting in the state treasury. And thankfully, the vast majority of this money has already gone out to families this year. And so there's only a few $1 million that would be able to be clawed back if the teachers union were successful.
So what's the backup plan if, God forbid, this is successful and they are able to get this basically struck down? how does the program, recover from that?
Sure. Well, as an educational assistance organization, the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation is going to continue its work of raising tax credits and supporting families. And we would call the legislature to make it their top priority when they go back into Jefferson City in January. We would call on them to go back and amend the Most Scholars statute and explicitly put in the statute these scholarships can be funded by appropriation of the General Assembly or by tax credits raised by educational assistance organizations. We believe that there's a one-sentence fix if it were to get struck down to clarify, hey, this program can be funded by the General Assembly or by tax credits. Currently, the law is kind of silent on that issue, and that silence is why the teachers union is claiming that an appropriation from the General Assembly is not allowed.
And so even with the money from the state, I mean, there's the tax credit aspect is still in existence. I mean, somebody could donate to that in exchange for the tax credit either way, though, correct?
Correct. I believe by the end of the year, across the 6 scholarship granting organizations in the state of Missouri, we'll raise between $20 and $30 million in tax credits for these students. But the importance of the appropriation from the state legislature is they were able to 3 to 4x this program this past year from that influx of cash from the state legislature. And it's because we have kids on waiting lists. We have kids who have IEPs and special needs who are not in a school that can serve them. And so we had thousands of kids on a waiting list. And so the General Assembly allowed those kids to be served with scholarships. And so it is vital that we continue to have that General Assembly appropriation, because these are real families and real students. They're not numbers on a spreadsheet. And some of those parents that have benefited and students that have benefited from the program, they're in court testifying yesterday and today about how this has been a life changer for their family.
We're visiting with Chris Voss from the Herzog Foundation. Just got a minute or so left here, Chris. Has the program been around long enough for us to know what some of the outcomes are? I mean, you've talked about the families who say this is a lifeline for us. Most Scholars program, hasn't been around forever, but are we seeing any results from this sort of education freedom that we already have in place?
Sure. Well, great question. And actually this year, we just wrapped up the program launched in 2021 and 2022, that school year. And so at this point in the statute, there's a requirement that the state treasurer's office put out a study about the outcomes and test scores and student growth from all those students receiving scholarships. And so I believe that report will be coming out this year. And so people are going to be able to see, we believe in transparency, and people are going to be able to see how beneficial this program is for the students who participate.
All right. And we learn more about what you all do, because Herzog Foundation, I think you're the biggest clearinghouse of those scholarships, I think, in the state. But where do we learn more about what you all do? Because you've got that. Then obviously you can find the Lion, which I go to pretty much every day to read through the Herzog Foundation. And also you also have some great events that people can keep track of as well. Unfortunately, most of those are in Kansas City as opposed to St. Louis. I'm just putting a bug in your ear that you can do those in St. Louis too.
That's true.
I'm just saying.
You'll be welcome.
Absolutely. Well, we love getting out to St. Louis, so we'll have to do that soon. And for those who want to learn more about the Most Scholars program, you can go to herzogmostscholars.com, herzogmostscholars.com, and learn about how to get involved as a donor or apply as a student.
All right, Chris, thanks so much. Really appreciate the update.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thanks,
all right,
Chris.
Once again, that trial is expected to. It's supposed to be a 2-day trial.
It's a bench trial. Yeah.
They should wrap that up today, and then whenever the judge rules, the judge rules. We don't know.
Yeah. This kind of translates into what people wear to court too. But it used to be when people traveled, they would get dressed up. I mean, you wouldn't just wear sweats on the plane. Should we go back to that? Should we? And I'm sitting here in a sweatshirt, so glass house. But I'm wondering if we should maybe go back to that. We're going to talk about that when we come back at 7:20.
I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now before you blow us all away.
So, I am wearing a sweatshirt because it's kind of chilly and cold out, and it's that time of year where it's kind of gloomy, and I don't really like it. I prefer the summer months. I prefer the sunshine. We all kind of hibernate this time of year, but that means you're spending more time indoors. And if you're going to be spending time indoors, you want to be comfy, you want to be cozy, which means you want your house to be how you want it to be. You want it to look how you want it to look. One way to do that is to get in touch with Michael's Flooring because they can help you upgrade your flooring. They are a locally owned and operated family business for more than 30 years, so you can count on them. I've used them in the past. I had a great experience with them, and you will too. If it's variety you're looking for, they've got it. Hardwood, carpet, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, plenty of options for you to choose from. Plus, with Michael's, your installation is going to be done right the first time because it's being done by the experts at Michael's, not some random subcontractor. With Michael's, you get the best combination ever. You get great quality and great value. So if you are thinking you want to spruce up your home and make it more cozy, go check out Michael's. You can shop in store at one of their 3 locations on Olive and Creve Coeur, on Town Square in Darting Prairie, or on Main Street in St. Peters. Or you can just go online to igotfloor.com.
On the next
Larry Connors USA.
Today's the story behind the story. I'm oil-filled trash, and I'm proud of it.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
When water troubles strike, call the family you can trust. Tim Jones here for Ambassador Plumbing, serving our community since 2018 with 25 years of master plumbing expertise from Tim Morris and his handpicked team. Whether it's a simple faucet repair or a complete bathroom remodel, if water runs to it or through it, they do it. From residential service calls to commercial to new construction, the folks at Ambassador are your neighbors treating you like family. Ambassador Plumbing, where faith meets craftsmanship. 636-383-6932 or ambassadorplumbing.com. That's ambassadorplumbing.com.
For over half a century, Joe Bacardi's has been serving up a little taste of Italy right here in St. Louis. Family owned since 1971, we're more than just a restaurant. We're a local landmark. With 4 convenient locations, we offer something for everyone, from our famous pizzas to mouth-watering entrees and delicious salads. Dine in with a glass of wine or grab a quick carryout. Whether it's dinner for 2 or catering for a crowd, Joe Bacardi's has you covered. Visit joebacardis.com and join our loyalty program. Joe Bacardi's, where every meal ends with buon appetito.
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Yes, I just want you to know what a breath of fresh air you people are.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
All right, as Susie just mentioned, flying used to be like a big deal.
Yeah.
You seen those pictures from way back when?
Yes.
I mean, people were dressed. They were in their
Classy.
Sunday best to go get on an airplane to fly somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, only the wealthier could generally afford to do it for the first, many years of commercial flight.
True.
But people got dressed up, man. It was, every once in a while, I don't remember which airport I was at recently, but they had like pictures from, the history of the airport, and you saw people walk. Of course, you're walking right out onto the tarmac, and the little kids are in their Sunday best, and dad's in his, his fedora and his suit, and
Mom's put her little pillbox hat on.
Yep, that's exactly what happened on this. So should we, as Susie asked the question a little bit ago, get back to that mindset, even though pretty much anybody can fly now. I mean, for the most part, most people can fly here. So the reason that we're asking that is something that the Secretary of Transportation said. We'll get to that in just a moment, but court cases, political shenanigans, whole lot more. Susie, what are the go-to stories to start our day at Red State today?
This is the Red State Rundown.
All right. We've been talking about this a lot. Now we've got Democratic Senator Ruben Gallego trying to threaten the military members if they investigate Mark Kelly. So it's like tit for tat for tit for tat for tit for tat.
Good luck
back
with
and
that.
forth. Yes.
Good luck with that.
So that's one of our top stories today. That's from Rusty Weiss. We've also got a story from Katie Jerkovich about the fact that Trump has now joined Texas in a sweeping move against the Muslim group. He has now said he wants to declare the Muslim Brotherhood a foreign terrorist organization. He's instructed Secretary of State and Secretary of Treasury to look into doing that. Okay.
I like that.
Okay. And this one's interesting. We haven't seen as much coverage of this, but it's by Jennifer O'Connell. She's talking about the Jay Jones effect. There's a New Jersey school board member who's exposed another candidate's sexual threats via text thread. This is a nasty story. This woman sits on the school board in this New Jersey district, and a candidate for the position and some of the other school board members had like a text chain that was, I can't even say on the air what it was titled, but it was basically "This bad word must die" is the name of the text chain, and it's got nasty and sexual innuendo stuff in it about her, and they're not doing anything about it. Now, the candidate did drop out of the race.
Well, there's that.
But the board members involved are still involved. This is a really disturbing story, and it's worth checking out.
Yeah. So here's the thing is, I'm not saying that's representative of the public school administration. I'm just saying, or establishment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that there's a lot more of those people involved than what anybody wants to recognize or admit.
Yeah. And we may be talking about that coming up.
Yes, I think so. Precisely. All right. So Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, he said this a few days ago. They sort of doubled down on it, basically tacitly acknowledging traveling can be a hassle. It can be a pain in the backside. It's, people get grumpy, that sort of thing. And he's basically arguing, hey, do your part to make it better, meaning passengers. So here's part of what he said. I think this was at the Newark airport, but this is what he said to reporters.
But I think we have to think about, how do we do a better job? How do we, maintain maybe some of that frustration we have as we travel this Thanksgiving season? Maybe we should say please and thank you to our pilots and to our flight attendants. I think, again, I call this just maybe dressing with some respect. Whether it's a pair of jeans and a decent shirt, I would encourage people to maybe dress a little better, which encourages us to maybe behave a little better. Let's try not to wear slippers and pajamas as we come to the airport. I think that's positive.
Okay. But I'm still amazed at how many people I see walking around in pajamas. I was at the Foundry the other day and went to go get like a little dessert bowl there. And there was a whole family in their pajamas walking around in the food court area. Now I've seen it at the airport too.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So let's start there. Secretary Duffy, he basically says, hey, you dress a little better. You may act a little better. Basically, Americans, let's be a little classier.
Yeah,
That's his premise.
Let's class this joint up.
Let's start there.
I'm on board. And I say this as somebody who loves my comfy clothes, although I do not go out in pajamas. Yoga pants, which I sometimes wear as pajamas, but I do. And I love being comfortable.
Yes.
But for me, like I was saying, this translates over into an observation that I had with regard to the court system. Now, as a practicing attorney, I would never have dreamed of showing up in court in anything other than a suit or appropriate business wear. The one time I had to go in and see a judge when I wasn't scheduled to be there, I at least had on a nice pair of slacks and a top that was, I was business casual, but I was like self-conscious about that. But I was constantly amazed at the people who were at court because they, maybe they had a traffic issue. Maybe there was a landlord issue, whatever it was. Maybe it wasn't the biggest thing in the world, but they didn't look like they'd even brushed their hair.
Now, I know that some judges will even critique, like, if you even come in with a suit. I saw that in that legal documentary, My Cousin Vinny.
Fantastic documentary.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not a documentary.
Oh,
but,
sorry. It'd be a lot cooler if it were.
Yeah. No, but they do. How you dress has to do with how people perceive you. And it also has to do with how you perceive and present yourself. So I think there's something to what he's saying.
Yeah, that was one of probably the best pieces of advice some random guy gave me. Because I'm not a big, I try to be clean and I try not to smell bad. And that's why my standard for
that's a very good standard to have. Thank you, Jerome. Yes. We appreciate that.
Because you're stuck in a room with me. I get it.
We all appreciate that.
But yeah, the way that you present yourself to the world influences the way the world presents itself to you.
That's
and so being somebody that I was a bit of a scrapper when I was younger, I know, I enjoy boxing, I enjoy wrestling. But it's very hard to do that when you're dressed up in a suit and you have a belt on, you have some nice, you don't want to scuff your shoes.
No.
And then also when you see somebody, even if they could be a millionaire, if they're walking around in PJs at Walmart, you're like, oh, why are they there? What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Versus you could be poor as dirt, and if you walk in and you're dressed a little bit nicer, then you're like, oh, okay, that might be somebody that they have enough self-respect to not act a fool.
Self-respect.
Yeah.
And that's what I think we need more. Some people are commenting, like, look at in older movies or even older, like,
Oh, yeah.
television. When you went to a baseball game, you were dressed up. You went on the planes, you were dressed up. You went out to dinner, you were dressed up. And I do think that subconsciously influences not only how you feel about yourself and the behavior you're willing to engage in, but also how you are going to potentially treat others.
And that wasn't just in like affluent areas.
No.
Go find pictures literally from Harlem from the 30s and 40s. You will, I mean, people were still dressed up in, a tie and everything. That was normal. Okay. So let me then toss up this sort of counterpoint.
Okay.
I do completely agree. You dress better, you present yourself better, you expect more. It's
No, I'm inspired to dress differently when I come to the station.
Here's the thing though, is that the transportation system treats us like criminal suspects when we walk in, and the airlines themselves treat us like cattle once we get through that. So if we're gonna be treated with self-respect, we're the ones that are gonna have to do it because they ain't gonna do it.
Well, under that rationale, we should all just come in cow outfits.
That's
right.
Okay, it's different because
Cow
it's a
onesies?
TSA. Yeah, when I go to the TSA, I really don't care, to be honest, and I think that's probably the issue.
I don't care about impressing those people.
No, I want them to get me through that line as quickly as possible. I'm not going to spend time on doing suspenders and getting my hair all messed up just so that way I can be harassed by a TSA agent. I was talking, I guess, more in the sense of, if you're out in public and you see somebody with a nice car and you're driving, maybe, you look like you have insurance. You look like you have a good lawyer. I'm not going to fight you.
Right.
You over there look like you have nothing at all. So, maybe I'm not going to take as much look from you.
Well, think about all the viral videos from people acting up on a plane.
Yes.
You very rarely is that person shown in the video dressed, professionally. They'd have been in a suit or a dress. Usually they're in yoga pants or, something kind of scruffy looking, and they kind of have that scruffy look to them. I think there's something to what he is saying. And again, now it's inspiring me to rethink my wardrobe choices in the mornings here to come to the station.
Dress for the job you want, but what if you want to work at home in your pajamas?
I mean, I like working here in my sweatshirts and stuff. It is comfy and it is chilly in here, just so you guys know. But I mean, working at home is nice too.
All right, so little food for thought there. Chew on that. I get what he's saying. I really do.
I don't disagree with it.
Now, another place that I think people could benefit from a dress code are public schools. And unfortunately, though, the leftist public school establishment really wants Jane Puszkar. Puszkar.
Yep.
You just had to make me look dumb,
Sorry,
didn't you? Jane Puszkar.
It's a tough one.
It is, yes.
Jane Puszkar to shut up. Like, I should probably shut up. Thanks a lot, Mike. Yeah, good luck with that. Jane gives us the update on the fight against smut in the schools coming up at 7:35.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shane Scotch with your first alert forecast this afternoon. Going to see highs climbing back towards the upper 50s, mostly cloudy skies. Could see a few spot showers as we head towards the evening hours. Then into Wednesday and Thursday, temperatures looking to continuously cool back down towards the mid to lower 40s. Looking pretty dry, a little bit more sunshine popping out, especially on Thanksgiving Thursday. Then Friday could see some chances of a rain and snow mix. We'll continue to watch that as we're going to see more chances as we head off towards the upcoming weekend. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shane Scotch.
Dr. Draghi and his team at Esquire Sports Medicine get pros back on the field, so they can certainly help you. You need an MRI, X-ray, CAT scan, pre- or post-surgery treatment, rehab. The chiropractic physicians at Esquire can help you or connect you to experts you need. And I know you're hurting right now. You don't want to wait. Esquire sees new patients often within 24 hours. EsquireSportsMedicine.com.
Larry Connor's Commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit VincentsJewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's Commentary on News Talk STL.
So you think you know everything, really? Well, here's a test. And do not lose control of your car when I ask the question. How many sheep, on average, how many sheep are gay? That's not a joke. It's a legitimate question. For what value?
Well, there is a German nonprofit group estimating that 1 in 12 sheep is gay. How do they know? You could save that question for a holiday drinking game. They have created a gay dating app, Grindr, to link gay sheep to other gay sheep. Again with a question, why? Anyway, they're busy selecting and shearing gay sheep so they can have gay merchandise, gay sheep items, jackets, scarves, caps, so that gay sheep can be applauded, admired, widely loved. One creator said, "I don't see this as fashion. I see it as an art project." I have to admit that I have never sheared sheep, so I really don't know what's under all that wool. But once they are sheared naked, this commentary is rated R.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Susie Moore with a reminder that for 20 years, Harpo's Chesterfield has been the heart of West County's fun. With their award-winning patio, voted best in West County, and excellent sports bar atmosphere, Harpo's is your one-stop destination. The mouth-watering menu has made them famous throughout St. Louis. Plus, they've got great drink specials and the friendliest, most energetic staff around. Whether you're dining in or carrying out, Harpo's delivers fun, food, and drinks like no one else. Harpo's Chesterfield. Call 636-537-1970 or visit harposstl.com.
Streaming TV is where it's at. It's not about cutting the cord anymore. That's old news. It's all about your customized TV options. With the best and cheapest high-speed internet and your own TV subscriptions, we've got your dream TV lineup. Between wired and satellite internet and TV, you now have tons of options. Save money and get more internet speed and better TV today by calling the Whole Home Connect. We scan your location and offer you the best TV and internet options. And we always have specials and promotions. So when you call, ask about that. Take 5 minutes of your time. Make this free call now and learn how to save money and get better internet and TV for your home anywhere in the U.S. Make this simple and free call now.
800-257-1632. 800-257-1632. 800-257-1632. That's 800-257-1632.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this dysfunctional radio station. It's The Right Mind Show with me, Todd Showalter, at 5 on Saturday. And, speaking of dysfunctional, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Let me just pause real quick and say, I never know what Larry's commentaries are going to be.
No.
I didn't see that one coming.
No, did not.
I did not either.
Did not have gay sheep on the bingo card.
And I don't know if you could hear the, what are you talking about for me in the background there?
All right, 7:36 right now. All right. If it's inappropriate to say something or read something at a school board meeting, then why would it be okay to push that exact same thing onto children in a library or a classroom?
It wouldn't.
Well, that's what common sense would say, Susie. We've got a I'm not even going to say a new dust up, a continuing dust up with the Francis Howell School District. And here's the thing, though, is this is emblematic of, I think, what's happening in school districts everywhere. So this isn't about one particular district. We're now joined by school board member Jane Puszkar. Jane, appreciate you being on the program here. Let me start with that. There were the people in the school district asking you to not read from books that are being offered and promoted to children in the school district. Can you make this make sense? What's actually happening here?
Thank you very much, Mike, for having me on this morning. I truly appreciate it. Yes, that's exactly what happened. Because it was considered, I guess, inappropriate language in a boardroom, the president had the superintendent look up a policy that said no one can use profanity. And my response was, well, but that's a personal profanity. I'm reading from a book. but that out of, I guess, just not wanting to, start a huge fight, I agreed just to recap what the book said. The point still got across. But the interesting part, and this is really interesting, schools are against racism, or at least I thought they were. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Should be.
Okay, well, one of the books I was going to read used the N-word quite prolifically. But I got emails the next day about how I was banning that book, and I was taking away, I was allowing the Jim Crow era to recreate, and I shouldn't do that. I should leave that book in. So I was like, wait a minute. You want me to leave a book with pervasive N-words in it, but you want a resolution on racism? Please make that make sense. But you just can't. You can't make this stuff up.
Okay, so Jen, let me follow up real quick, because there are some literary works that use that as a point to attack, racism, whether it's, To Kill a Mockingbird or some of those. Are we talking about that sort of just edgy, controversial, thought-provoking things? Or are we just talking about stuff that's beyond the pale?
We're talking about stuff beyond the pale. We're talking about Stephen King's Bag of Bones. We're talking about Ellen Hopkins' Identical, which, by the way, both of those books have now been taken out. But we're talking about a whole slew of books that are nothing but pornography, as identified by 573.010, the definition in the state statute. Any written material is covered under that statute. I understand a judge didn't like that statute recently, and according to some struck it down, but it wasn't struck down. It was a summary judgment. But leaving all that aside, we have a school board policy ourselves against pornography with those same definitions, and we're not following it.
Why is that, Jane? I mean, when you get to the heart of it, what is the argument from the other side that these materials that they don't think are appropriate to read out loud in a school board meeting in a room full of adults still belong in school libraries and accessible to young students?
The main, I guess, pushback I get is that it's book banning. And my response to that is taking pornography out of schools is not book banning. I get letters and emails from mothers that say, it's not your right to decide what my child reads. Well, yeah, but when it comes to pornography, that's kind of a school board mandate, because we are elected to protect all children, and this is definitely protection of children. This is not your Huckleberry Finn or any of the classics. It's not that at all. But the problem is some of these books have gotten awards, which should tell you something, but they're pure unadulterated pornography. Every adult that I have let read the passages that I know, including radio show hosts, have said that's filthy. And all radio show hosts say, I can't read that on the air.
I was one of them that said that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so if you have a state statute, you have a policy on the books. There's also U.S. Code 1470, which prohibits the transference of pornography to minors, and a school board policy. But yet here we are.
It's crazy. I just don't get it. I know that this has been an ongoing battle. Where do you see? You mentioned that a couple of those books have now been removed from the schools. And Frances Howell, where do you see this going next?
Well, right now we have a list of 100 books that have been delivered to the school district. The problem with that, it was sent 3 times, and guess what? It didn't go through all 3 times because of bad words in the names of these books. What does that tell you? So they had to go into our filter and retrieve, physically retrieve those emails to find those books. Where do I see that going? I see that it's going to be a long process, because a committee has to be formed for every book. So there's a committee of 9, 5 people have to vote, the majority, to take the book out, considering the fact that it only takes 1 librarian to put it in. But that's a whole nother story. It's going to be a long, convoluted process and a long discussion and a long fight, but I don't see any other way around it. I've also written the prosecuting attorney in the county and said, hey, we kind of we have this issue. Would you like to know more about it? And his answer was, no, school boards govern themselves. So shout out to Joe McCullough for not helping us out.
All right. We're visiting with Jane Puszkar from the Francis Howell School Board. Jane, oftentimes you've got Lauren Greenwood in here with you, and she's kind of a partner in this fight against, smut and things. And again, let me just kind of dawned on me. We were talking about the parents who are saying you don't have a right to tell me or tell my child what they can or can't read, but the parents could go buy the books directly if they want to provide the smut to their kid themselves. I mean, is there no self-awareness over, we're talking about taxpayer funded, stuff. If you want to be edgy and you've got a different view of different things, that's certainly your right for the most part in your own home. But, why is it that there's such a push to make it available and promoted? Because if it's in the school library, that doesn't necessarily mean the government's endorsing it, but they are offering it. And there's got to be some room for common sense in this.
Well, those books are also available at the county library. So that, they don't even have to go on Amazon and buy them. But the problem, I believe part of the problem is that this has gone on for so long. And unfortunately, a lot of us were asleep at the wheel and didn't know that this was even happening. And when that happens, it gets entrenched in all kinds of things, in the curriculum, in the library, in the personal little libraries in the classrooms, and it just becomes insurmountable at times to get it out. But we have to do something, because children that are exposed to sexual content, material, activities before they're old enough or mature enough to understand what it means and make sense of it, they are subject to 90% of them end up with sexual aberrant behavior later on in life. And that's not what I want for the kids in the Francis Howell School District, or any other district for that matter. As you mentioned before, this is pervasive. And I will guarantee you that if you are within the sound of my voice, Mike's voice, and Susie's voice, your kids can be exposed to this.
Good morning, Jane. This is producer Jerome with a quick question for you. So, if for the parents out there that might be interested in learning more about what their kids are being exposed to, but might not, sometimes you skim through a book and you're like, well, I'm not seeing what they're saying is in this book. Mm-hmm. Is there like an email or a website or something where that you've compiled a list of the books that you're trying to get removed from these schools so that they can check to make sure that their kids are not being exposed to it?
Thank you for bringing that up, Jerome. Yes, there is. If they're interested, they can go to FHSD School Watch List. And on there's some videos of books that, and I'm sure more information will be posted on there shortly about more books that are being challenged. The other thing that people, if they're interested to do, is let us know what you think. You can email us all at board@fhsdschools.org. board@fhsdschools.org. It's really important for the parents to get involved in this, because we need a little bit more of conservative voices, and make it enough voices that they can't overlook how many people are concerned.
Okay, real quick, Jane. Lauren Greenwood's often, with you when you're in these fights, and she's been in the studio here a couple times, I think. My understanding is she got some kind of cease and desist related to her advocacy. What was that all about?
Lauren was upset because a language arts teacher, ELA teacher, was reading aloud from a book and discussing suicide by cop, which Lauren and her family do not discuss such things at home. Her child came home upset, and so she complained to the school. Later on, she got a letter from the teacher involved saying that she was calling undue duress, and this teacher has lost work because she reported what this teacher did. So it's kind of been turned around in my estimation, that this should not be turned back on Lauren, but the focus should be on not exposing our kids to things that make them uncomfortable.
Well, hopefully Lauren took the cease and desist and ripped it up and just tossed it in the trash.
Well, I don't know about that, but I think she's exploring options is about all I can say about that.
Got it. All right, Jane, appreciate the update. As it's been pointed out in one of our social media chat boxes, it's awful that we even have to have these conversations to tell people to stay on top of this. And I think the key point is keeping pornography out of school libraries is not book banning people. I mean, Come on, use some common sense here.
Exactly. I appreciate the time and your outlook, Mike, Susie, and Jerome. I really, truly appreciate it.
You got it. We'll talk to you again soon, Jane. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
We've been talking about Thanksgiving and what people are going to have and what they're not going to have as their side dishes, that sort of thing. But, that kind of gets us to the topic of food, which, as you might know, NewsTalk STL is participating in a food drive with the St. Louis County GOP to help feedmypeople.org. That's right. If you want to know what the locations are where you can drop off your non-perishable items to help us with this food drive, you can go to newstalkstl.com. It tells you there, but definitely check out there's bins at outside the station here, at Michael's locations, at Bartolino's, and at Chris's Pancake Houses.
Wait a second, man. What do you think a teacher's going to look like this year?
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
What was once considered radical is now mainstream.
On NewsTalk STL.
Are the days of a personal doctor gone? Not at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. I'm Dr. Randy Tobler to share how our design is putting the care back into healthcare. Plain and simple, our members, not insurance companies, get our exclusive focus. That means same or next day appointments, responsive answers to your concerns, and a no-spin, big tool chest approach. It's about time you get serious time devoted to your medical needs. To learn about healthcare the way it ought to be, schedule a discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Tim Jones here. I am beyond thankful this Thanksgiving season for God, family, friends, country, and all of you in NewsTalk STL Nation.
Hi, it's Ken Williams, and for this Thanksgiving season, I'm most thankful for good health for everyone, my family, my friends, and you.
NewsTalk STL, celebrating family and friends this season of Thanksgiving. Brought to you by Best Buy Flooring, DeGregorio's Food Products, and Golden Chicken.
This is Tony Colombo, and my favorite Capriati sandwich is the cheesesteak made with American Wagyu beef from Snake River Farms, and you have to include a side of their amazing fries. I love Capriati's, and you will too.
Open 9 to 9 daily on Manchester and McKnight in Rock Hill.
The Mike Ferguson Show is one of my favorite programs. In addition to Larry Connor's USA, catch my program at 6. Now, back to Mike.
Today's show is sponsored by cranberry sauce in a can. The easiest way to tell your dinner guests you barely made an effort. At least stir it up so they can't see the impression of the bottom of the can. Jeez Louise.
Amen.
Wow. I always thought the little ridges, the can imprint ridges,
Ruffles
were
have
endearing.
ridges, not cranberry.
It adds to the flavor, Mike.
Oh.
I'm on team cranberry sauce. I like cranberry sauce.
I don't,
Amen.
but I don't mind people serving it, but I just think it shouldn't look like the can it came out of.
7:50 right now. All right, that's Susie Moore. That's producer Jerome. My name's Mike. You mentioned the Thanksgiving bingo card a little bit ago. Okay, so somebody online was like, "What's going to be on your Thanksgiving bingo card?" If we put a Thanksgiving bingo card where you had like what you expect or the weird stuff that you probably expect, what should be on your Thanksgiving bingo card?
Are we talking about food or are we talking about comments made?
Everything, everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on your bingo card, like
Yes.
food wise, should be some of the traditionals that we've been talking
Sure,
about.
yeah, absolutely. For instance, how about this? Somebody wrote down untouched ambrosia salad. So it's there, but nobody wants it.
Yeah.
Put that on the bingo card. Like for instance, awkward hug.
Oh, yeah.
That's on the bingo card.
Definitely need that on the bingo card because there's always going to be one.
Yeah, there's that. Is there going to be a confused grandma on your bingo card?
Well, I'm going to speak up for my mom here, who's turning 93 next week. So she's the grandma, she's the matriarch, and she's still pretty with it. Now, you start talking like, social media stuff. Maybe she's a little confused, but overall, she's still with it.
Yeah, my grandfather, God love him, he's still tough. He's a tough, strong old man, and he has some very good, intelligent things to say. at times.
Mm.
And, but you put some football on for him, and he's good. So
There you go.
You see, I think this one should probably be the one in the middle. Argument over politics.
Okay, so this might be a little too specific for most people, but in my case, it would be the person that makes it clear they don't want to talk about politics, bringing up the politics during Thanksgiving.
Oh, I love that.
And then they know what I do, so it's always a slight jab at me. But
body language from Susie,
Mm-hmm.
you pictured somebody specific when he said that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's I don't want to get into politics, but yeah, and I try to, for the most part, because of what I do for a living, I try to not go there.
Same.
If someone wants to have just a regular conversation about something, that's fine. But like we're gonna get into an argument thing, no, not gonna do it.
yeah, I mean, most of my family, if not all of them by now, know I work for a conservative news
Mhm.
station and that I enjoy my job very much. And I like to be one of those nerds where we have guests on. I'm like, we got to talk to this person today. And this is what, I'm still kind of a kid at heart.
Yeah.
But then I have relatives that are like, well, you're indoctrinated by this and that. And I'm like, you browse Reddit all day, dude. You don't come at me.
Glass houses.
Yeah.
How
I got
about
plenty of
this?
rocks.
How about this on the bingo card? A young person who's offended that somebody said Indian.
We actually, we don't have that kind of, because my cousins are Mexican and I don't think they care. So yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe look out.
I was gonna say it's like my daughter and my nephews and nieces, and I don't even know that would actually come up, unless we were talking about our 23andMe genetic breakdown,
Oh, okay.
but they've got it classified there as either Native American or North American, so it wouldn't even naturally just come out as Indian.
Now, my DNA test came back that I'm a little bit over 1% Native Amazonian.
Oh, okay.
So
That's big.
So can I say Indian? Because Amazonians and Americans are not the same group of people.
So you're saying is that your culture is not our
It's
talking
not your
point.
it's not your costume, Mike.
Okay.
Right. I can go you one better though. I just realized this because they updated my my breakdown, and one of my trace amounts is is actual Indian. Like
Oh wow.
Eastern Indian. Good I can't pronounce it. Gujarati Patidar.
See, I've never done that breakdown, that DNA, because my dad's side of the family, we've literally traced it back to the 1600s into Scotland. My grandmother and my cousin did a genealogy back using all the records the old-fashioned way. My mom was adopted, so we don't know where she came from.
Heaven.
Yes.
Aw.
So
Hi,
we have no
Vicky.
idea. That's right. Okay. On the bingo card, how about this? Let's see here. A mom who never leaves the kitchen during the whole shebang.
Oh yeah.
That's the way it always was when I was growing up. 'Cause
Definitely.
Mom and grandma, and the funny part was, I remember one time, I don't remember, it was a roommate or just a college friend or girlfriend or whoever it was over at one of the holiday meals. And the women were all in the kitchen and us dudes were all in there doing, it was very, very old fashioned. And, she kind of like, well, that's, kind of critiquing that, being the Chris. And the weird part was, I'm like, yeah, I tried to go in there once. I thought they were going to beat me to death.
Right.
That is their area, and they do not want the men folk in there.
Well, part of that though is because the men folk go in there and start picking the food off the plate before it's ready to be served.
Well, that's
that
exactly
sort
what
of
I was going to do.
Exactly.
But yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that too, because that's how all of the female cousins will be hanging out with the aunts and the moms and stuff like that, and they're usually going through the catalogs for Black Friday, but they keep the charcuterie board and all the nice little finger snacks in there with them, and then the guys are all on the couch.
Sounds lovely. I'd be hanging out with them too.
And we don't get any snacks, but they scold us for trying to pick at the turkey.
See, but my mom and my grandma, they were like, no, this is our chance for all the women to be together and do our thing. You guys do your thing. We're doing this. And it's like all the cooking was just incidental. That was just where they were.
Hen session.
Now, here's the funny part is now, I don't know the last time we actually cooked something. We just ordered the whole thing.
Yeah.
Which I actually like better, because I would rather Rachel be able to spend the time with everybody.
Sure.
Rather than trying to recruit me or Amber or Amber's boyfriend or whoever to do all the work. I'm like, why not just enjoy the time instead of stressing out over what's going to get done and not done on all that.
I can see that. I don't know. There was something kind of charming about that sort of
I do think there's something that's been
division
lost
of
with it.
duties.
Yeah. Division of labor. But but families were bigger back then too.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. All right. So let's see here. Oh, you could put this one in the middle of a bingo card too. Poorly lip-synced Macy's Thanksgiving Day performances on TV.
Oh, yeah. That's, I mean, yeah, that you definitely want that on your card. You would.
What is it about that parade that people still, and it's a guilty pleasure. I'll watch it too.
It's tradition.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I know that we would have it on the TV.
Yeah. No one's actually really watching.
But I could not tell you a single time that I could remember anything. I think there's a Garfield sort of thing going on.
The big balloon.
Yeah. And then that's really all I remember. And I mean, I'm talking every single year for the entire time I've been alive. I know it's on TV. And it's just we don't ever pay attention to it.
Yeah, it's just kind of background noise.
Yeah.
And see, whenever that's on, because like my mom loves that. I think Amber, my daughter, even likes that. And I don't mind them. But I remember thinking, it's early in the morning in New York City. Why would you get up, jostle for a position on the road on Thanksgiving just to watch these big balloons go by? Yeah, I know. I'm like,
some people get up and run a 5K for Turkey Day.
I've got a cousin in Florida who does that kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
I don't know why Tony does that.
Oh.
I'm just saying. Oh man. Oh goodness. All right. By the way, I did see a pro tip on social media.
What's that?
Start talking about politics now at Thanksgiving, and you can save a lot of money on Christmas.
Very clever.
Great tip.
Yes.
PRI Global now has Prismatic, an AI-driven platform that can help you and your business, especially in construction. Simplify your operations, secure data, modernize your business from the cloud up. Visit PRIGlobal.com. Innovation with talent and technology. People, process, platform. PRI Global delivers all three. Check them out. PRIGlobal.com. PRIGlobal.com.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't, and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with this free call. 800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
As the U.S. tries to stop the bloodshed in Ukraine, the war rages on. At least 7 people killed in the latest Russian attack on Ukraine's capital.
Vitaly Klitschko says residential buildings in the central Pechest district and in an eastern district of Kyiv were badly damaged. Lyubov Petrivna, a resident of one of the damaged buildings, tells the AP everything in her apartment shattered. I was lying in bed. There was a powerful explosion and glass rained down on me. Video footage posted to Telegram showed a large fire spreading through multiple floors of the 9-story building. The large-scale attacks come during a renewed U.S. push to end the war that's raged for nearly 4 years and talks about a U.S.-brokered peace plan. I'm Charles Tiledesma.
Afghanistan's Taliban government accuses Pakistan of launching overnight strikes in 3 eastern provinces, killing 10 civilians. The Pakistani military denies the Afghan claims, insisting there were no such strikes. The White House says none of the Democrats urging military service members to disobey illegal orders from President Trump has been able to name a single such order because, White House says, no illegal orders have been issued. Heading out for Thanksgiving, a lot of people are, and a lot of them are driving.
We anticipate seeing 73 million Americans hitting the road this Thanksgiving season. We anticipate the busiest travel on the road in the afternoon of this coming Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. Commerce Department reports retail sales rose slightly in September. That followed 3 months of big gains as Americans continue spending heading into the all-important holiday shopping season. Dow futures are up 30 points. NASDAQ futures down 51. More on these stories, townhall.com.
This is Dennis Prager for AmFed Coin and Bullion. There's something about the feel of a gold coin in your hand and the way the light reflects off its intricate details that has always captivated me. Nick Grovich, AmFed's owner, turned that same passion into his livelihood. Nick began collecting coins as a teen, and that interest grew into a nationally respected business offering only the finest quality coins at the most competitive prices. But the truth is that although Nick is a rare coin dealer, he doesn't believe in rare coins. Rare coins do not make sound investments, but they do make dealers a lot of money. See, that's part of what I respect about him. AmFed specializes in buying non-performing numismatic coins and turning them into gold or silver investments that provide liquidity and perform competitively against the market. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com.
A grand opening for a new Walmart.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shane Scotch with your first alert forecast this afternoon. Going to see highs climbing back towards the upper 50s, mostly cloudy skies. Could see a few spot showers as we head towards the evening hours. Then into Wednesday and Thursday, temperatures looking to continuously cool back down towards the mid to lower 40s. Looking pretty dry, a little bit more sunshine popping out, especially in Thanksgiving Thursday. Then Friday could see some chances of a rain and snow mix. We'll continue to watch that as we're going to see more chances as we head off towards the upcoming weekend. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shane Scotch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hello, Kirk Hilsinger, Chairman of the Republican Party, City of St. Louis. Join us for our Christmas party on December 11th. Tickets may be purchased by cash or check, or you may purchase tickets through our website at stl-gop.com. We'll have dinner and silent auction. In addition, we will be collecting donations for Toys for Tots. So bring an unwrapped toy for a family in need. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we look forward to fighting for you in 2026.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today.
800-515-2380. That's 800-515-2380. Paid for by U.S. Med.
Mike Ferguson.
Shut this sucker down.
Susie Moore.
I disagree on his assessment of the situation.
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
You're not supposed to lie, but you're definitely not supposed to lie when you're under oath.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
Did you see that recent Fox News piece, an investigative piece on like UFOs? I think they're using different, acronyms now, UAPs now, but more specifically, not what people are saying about them, but what we're not being told.
Yeah, they're out there.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking millions of people have seen that piece on there, and it's interesting because when you talk about, okay, what are they telling us? What are they not telling us? This could go in so many different directions. But there are a lot of people kind of jumping up down going, whoa. There's actually something serious here. And anytime there's a stone wall, then we need to ask more questions, even if somebody wants to laugh at you for it.
Yeah, this brings me back to a couple of years ago, the subcommittee hearing on UAP activity. It was Grush, Graves, and Fravor, and they were all testifying under oath about their knowledge of UAPs and potential alien activity. And to this day, none of them have been charged with lying under oath. So I'm just saying.
Well, featured in that piece that I just mentioned on Fox News is Kent Heckenlively, and he's actually got a book out now called Catastrophic Disclosure: The Deep State, Aliens, and the Truth. And that actually just came out like this month. So Kent, welcome to the show. Appreciate you being on the program here. So let's talk about what we're talking about before we get into some of the details. We're not talking about a real life version of, Men in Black or something like that people want to point this to. What is it what are the questions we need answered and why?
Well, what's really interesting is you mentioned that hearing with Grush, Graves, and Fravor, and that's exactly where I came into the story as well. Because this is my 20th book, and I've never done anything in the paranormal field. I'm usually looking at corruption in medicine, science, big tech, big media. My last book was on the CIA with a CIA officer and whistleblower. And when I watched that hearing, it just changed me, because I think I've, like most people, I've never had an experience where I've seen anything, but I've got something of a recreational interest in it. I mean, how can you live in a society and not? But when I watched that hearing, I said, this is something significant, because I've written about Congress before. And one of the things that I've known is that you don't get to testify in one of those hearings unless you're very, closely vetted. And I was fortunate enough to have a friend in the UFO community, UFO documentary filmmaker, Michael Mazzola, who's probably the #1 documentary filmmaker in this area. And I called him up and I said, Michael, what the heck is going on here? Because I know lies when I hear them. And one of two things is happening. Either this guy, Grush, and the others are absolute liars, or they're telling us we've been lied to for a very long time. And what Michael told me is that behind the scenes, military and government sources were telling the UFO community that there would be an effort for disclosure, but they wanted to have controlled disclosure. And what they feared was something called catastrophic disclosure. And that just made my ears perk up, because, with my background as an attorney, the way I look at the world is you go into a courtroom or you go before Congress and you stand up, you raise your right hand, and you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And that wasn't what I was getting in the hearings. What I was getting in the hearings were people saying things like, I can't answer that in this hearing. Oh, I could tell you that, but I need to go into a skiff. Or we would need to go into a skiff, and then I'd need to get permission from the gatekeepers to give you that information. And I just said, whoa, wait a minute. This is not the government I thought I had. And that's when I decided I needed to do a fresh look at the entire UFO issue. And that's what I think that Michael and I have done in Catastrophic Disclosure.
Okay, so now, by the way, we talk about UFO, it means unidentified is the key word there, flying objects. So, I mean, obviously we tend to think, from other planets or other whatever, but other people would say, well, are they just protecting military secrets? Could this be a defense thing? I mean, what is it that we suspect we're not being told?
Well, here's what's interesting, because, with my background as an attorney, I really reserve judgment for what's going on. So, I play out in my mind various scenarios. So when I saw those hearings, I said to myself, okay, one perspective is, all right, these are members or former members of the intelligence communities. Okay, that's one thing. And you want me to believe that these former members of the intelligence community went and asked permission from their bosses to be able to testify in front of Congress. So I'm thinking to myself, well, that looks sketchy. Are we supposed to believe that these former spooks are now telling us the truth? And so, I had a skepticism about them. But then I was also saying, well, those are exactly the people who I would expect to know the truth. But it's sort of a catch-22, because you have to ask yourself the question, are these former spooks telling the truth now about the lies in the past, or are they lying to us now about things that went on in the past? And so I kind of asked myself, what's the game plan here? Because if this is all fake, that's a huge story that our intelligence agencies are participating in this incredible psyop on the public. So regardless of where it went, I knew that there was a story there. I'm just not certain exactly what the story is.
Producer Jerome's, thank you again for joining us today, Kent. So one of the things that you just touched on that I think is really significant as well is the question a lot of people that are at least skeptical or lean into the idea of UAPs being, potentially extraterrestrial is why now? I remember back in high school, I believe it was a leader of the Canadian Air Force said, yeah, we totally know UAP technology exists and it's not ours. And so more people have been coming out. And then you have what's called the 3-1 Atlas. I believe we've identified as an asteroid now, but for a while, a lot of the news sources, including a Harvard researcher, was saying it's an alien mothership coming to Earth. So when we were speaking of the PSYOP element, there's a conspiracy, for lack of a better term, called Project Bluebeam. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but do you think that this is the early stages of that, or is it just another case of mass hysteria? This is a classified program that people are observing, or even foreign technology that we're not privy of, and it's just being misidentified by people not in the know?
One of the things that I did in this book was I said to myself, okay, I don't know this field, but my co-author, Michael, is deep into this field. So I said, we need to go interview some of the leading figures in the UFO community, people like Dr. Stephen Greer, people like constitutional lawyer Danny Sheehan. I did a nice interview with independent journalist Michael Schellenberger. I've become close to Congressman Eric Burleson, who's doing this. And the fear of many in the UFO community has been that the aliens are real, they are not a threat, but our intelligence agencies are going to begin a campaign to panic the public that these creatures and this phenomenon is dangerous to justify huge military spending in order to justify their action. So the question is whether this is all part of an exaggerated alien threat in which they'll give us some information and seek to terrify us. Now, you mentioned 3-Eye Atlas, and I just went on Fox News to give, to throw cold water on the idea that this was an alien ship. And, you have to question when people like a Harvard astronomer, Avi Loeb, come out and very publicly say, oh, there's a 30 to 40% chance that this is an alien ship. And then you go and look at what planetary scientists are saying, like the group from the University of Pennsylvania, people like Neil deGrasse Tyson, and they say to themselves, look, this is only the third interstellar object we've ever observed. So yes, it's going to have some unique characteristics, but in no way is there any reasonable possibility that's an alien ship. So you ask yourself, why are people like a Harvard astronomer going so beyond the evidence? And it fits into this alien threat narrative. So I don't know if this entire effort is just part of a psyop to convince people that aliens represent a threat and we have to spend billions of dollars to defend ourselves against them, or if this effort for disclosure is being led by honest people who are hoping that we can do something positive for the world by telling the truth about what's been going on for the past 80 years. I still don't have an answer to that question.
I'll parrot Senator John Kennedy a little bit. I think that if there are aliens from other galaxies that are coming by here, they'll probably take one look at the neighborhood on Earth and lock the windows as they go by.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting because I say to myself, if there are aliens, what are their intentions toward us? Because I ask the question, any intelligence that rises to dominate its planet will probably have gone through a number of things like human beings have. We are not so different from the creatures from which we evolved. I mean, when you look at chimpanzee societies, for example, there is war. I think there are certain negative things that come along with intelligence, and I wouldn't be surprised if these aliens exist, whether they might not have a number of shameful things in their past as well.
All right. The book is called Catastrophic Disclosure, The Deep State, Aliens, and the Truth. And we find that, Kent, and if people want to connect with you, they do it how and where?
The book is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and wherever books are sold. And you can check out me at my website, Heckenlivelybooks.com.
All right, Ken, good chatting with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, just a little bit of breaking news. President Trump is set to pardon 2 turkeys today. And it looks like there's a Massachusetts judge that's probably going to put a stay on that immediately afterwards.
He's not going to be using an auto pay to pardon them, though,
No,
right?
no. But the judge is standing by to overrule it.
You have a soul so dark, it is no more. And all at once depart, no destination. You're making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now!
Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a 2-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit ConnorRoofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Yo, this is Vic. Vic for Vets is proudly honoring our veterans. Every Wednesday at 11:05, you'll hear about that day's honoree and their incredible service to our country.
Hi, it's Ken. You want to nominate a veteran? Send their name, service information, and story to me, Ken, at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Brought to you by Alamo Military Collectibles and Monocle's Pizza.
Together, let's celebrate the heroes in our community. Vic for Vets, where honor meets gratitude.
News Talk STL.
First thing in the morning and pretty much all day.
Live and local. 101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL.
Hey, Chris Arp from the Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show. Make sure that you're listening to our show this afternoon from 4 to 6. Now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show.
I got a feeling there's going to be a lot of people who want to send that conversation to their friends and neighbors and family. That one we just had with Kent Heckenlively.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be up on the podcast. Look at News Talk STL, whatever platform you're on. We're there.
Everywhere.
So check that out and look for Mike Ferguson in the morning. And it's really easy on the platform and on the website itself. You can find these podcasts on the website. Couple clicks and you can email it, text it, whatever. It's really easy to do. All right. Here's what's going on. Case dismissed against Comey and Tish. So what is next? Also, you can expect crowded airports and highways this week, really, frankly, starting today. I mean, travel's been getting back up to normal. They're pretty much back up to full capacity, but it's going to be a busy Thanksgiving. So a lot of us are traveling. And the Blues, and never mind. All right, it's 8:21. Let's go ahead and dump some news on you here.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks, the Morning News Dump.
All right, the sheriff's lawyer asked the court to dismiss the case. The judge says nope. Going to see this thing through. The case against Alfred Montgomery continues today as the Attorney General's office continues its push to remove him from the sheriff's office. Closing arguments, though, are expected to happen today. Montgomery remains in federal custody in an unrelated criminal case as well.
So he's fighting battles on both fronts at this point.
Yeah. He's got a very, very busy schedule in between sitting around in jail doing nothing. And he is actually the sheriff of the city.
Jeez.
Good Lord. All right. A federal judge dismisses the indictments against former FBI Director James Comey and sitting New York Attorney General Letitia James on Monday, saying that the indictments were illegitimate because the judge ruled, were brought by an unqualified U.S. attorney. Comey responding to the matter on social media.
This case mattered to me personally, obviously, but it matters most because a message has to be sent that the President of the United States cannot use the Department of Justice to target his political enemies.
I'm going to let that hang there for a second. James Comey saying, well, we clearly can't have the Department of Justice targeting the president's. James Comey just said that.
I had to pinch myself there for a second, make sure I'm not dreaming.
And he apparently sees zero self-reflection or irony on that.
You know, sometimes you wonder if it is just them lacking self-awareness or if they think that people are going to buy it, but I'm leaning actually more towards that lack of self-awareness in this case.
Good God. Oh, man. Well, obviously, Attorney General Pam Bondi not happy with the ruling.
Lindsay Halligan, I talked to all of our U.S. attorneys, the majority of them around the country, and Lindsay Halligan is an excellent U.S. attorney, and shame on them for not wanting her in office.
Okay, so the way all of this is going to shake out, it actually could mean that James Comey is off the hook. Maybe not, but it could be because of a statute of limitation situation. Earlier today, a couple hours ago, we talked with Keith Gross, a former state prosecutor, and he's kind of our go-to guy on a lot of these legal issues. He and Susie in particular had that conversation explaining what all this means. That's going to be up on the podcast pretty quick here as well. That'll be really helpful to revisit that. Or if somebody says, I don't understand what all this mess is, send them that discussion. You'll be able to clear up a lot of things. Okay. Pentagon says it is investigating Democratic Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona over possible breaches of military law. And this is related to that video that was directed at service members of several days ago.
The investigation into the former Navy pilot stems from a video that featured several lawmakers calling for U.S. troops to defy illegal orders. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says Senator Kelly needs to be held accountable.
You can't have a functioning military if there's disorder and chaos within the ranks. And that's what these Democrat members were encouraging.
The Pentagon cited a federal law that allows retired service members to be recalled to active duty for possible court-martial or other measures. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Yeah, it's one thing.
Oh, wow. Sorry, that's my computer.
The aliens got us, Mike.
Got it. Yep. And
but it is, on a more serious note, it is one thing when you have the Democrat politicians who clearly this is a way of trying to do like a power grab sort of, I'm going to be the resistance. I got people that I want to be voting for me. It's one thing when they're saying it, and it's not right when they say it, but it's one thing when they say it. If you are a former military, if you're a veteran, then in my opinion, it's an entirely different thing because you were in that position. You know what the rules are. You know what the standard procedure once you get out is. And to use that, having that sort of credential, even if you're not leaning on it when you say things like disobey orders of the military, but just the fact that you have that credential is I think that makes it worse.
Yeah, there's the right and wrong thing to do. I actually had, when we talked about this, I don't know, an hour and a half ago, I had somebody from a military organization or a nonprofit related to military send me a note saying, here's, I guess what a description of it was. And the way that I was reading that is that can somebody be basically called back into active duty against their will in order to be court-martialed? Apparently that absolutely can be done. But what I was reading in that had to do more with for things that you did while in uniform. So you did something, either you got away with it or they shouldn't have let you go without addressing it. And then we can call you back and court-martial you for what happened. Whether or not somebody can be called back into duty and court-martialed for something they said after an honorable discharge, that's going to be an interesting clash of law if the government pursues this. I don't know the answer to that. And so it's going to be fascinating if the DOJ decides to pursue this, or if the now the Trump administration calls Department of Defense, Department of War, if they go ahead and try to pursue this, well, it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out, because not being familiar with military law, obviously, I don't know where the jurisdiction begins and ends on.
See, and I know Susie's probably quite busy right now, but
Oh,
it
she
would be
is.
great to have her opinion to be able to see, like, is this something that would be a censurable censure? Right?
Yeah, censure, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be a censurable offense if that's something where you are actively calling on military
Yes.
members to essentially abandon their duty and
Their oath.
betray their oath. If that's the kind of politician or elected official you want to be, then you should be censured and removed from your position.
My guess, well, censure does not automatically mean removal, but a censure is like an official admonition from the body. It absolutely is censurable. Now in
Okay.
the Senate, that's a lot harder to do than in the House, but it is. I think
Yeah.
you're onto something there. All right, President Trump signing an executive order this week that creates the Genesis mission.
Oh.
You heard about this? Yeah. It directs the Department of Energy and some other agencies to research and make use of AI. Now, on special report on Fox, Energy Secretary Chris Wright says the effects will ripple through the economy.
To advance innovation and science, to fix our rising energy costs, to give better economic opportunities for our citizens, to make longer and healthier lives possible.
Okay, so the order is directing the agencies to make their data more readable to AI, and it hands over some government computing capability to universities and in the private sector to manage some of that. And the White House says the so-called Big Beautiful Bill will help with some of the funding of this.
Yeah, I remember reading that in the Big Beautiful Bill. I don't like it. I'm not a fan, and I don't think if your concern is the cost of energy and energy production, then just go nuclear. AI uses quite a bit of energy, so I don't understand where that.
Oh, we got
into it, but
the data centers thing, which is directly related to AI. Those that, man, we're seeing those arguments. I mean, in Festus right now. Oh, they are hopping mad. Both sides fighting over data centers. There was a proposal to turn the old the old armory in St. Louis into a data center that ran into a lot of opposition. So there are far more questions than answers on all of this.
I don't like it.
All right, Department of Transportation urging travelers to prepare early and expect congested roads and airports. Here's Secretary Sean Duffy.
We're going to have a lot of travelers on the road, a lot on the rail, and we're going to have the busiest Thanksgiving season ever. And so it's going to, with that, it's going to be a bit congested. Let's be ready for that. And again, as the administrator said, come a little early. Don't be rushing through the airport because the lines might be a little bit longer.
And whether it's airport or highways, expect that volume to really ramp up literally today, right within the next couple hours or so. All right, we are still a couple months, almost 3 months away from spring training, but in the meantime, another sports season starts this week.
Oh,
yeah, the St. Louis Ambush kick off their indoor soccer season on Friday. So if you need to get out of the house after the family, or you want a little family outing, they are hosting Kansas City at the Family Arena. That is a 505 game. Tickets are really inexpensive for these. Have you ever been to an indoor soccer game?
I'm not a big soccer guy, but I'm starting to learn the value of sports as a community building thing. So
indoor soccer is different than outdoor soccer.
Oh,
moves very, very fast because it's the size of a hockey rink, and it's indoor, and they can bounce it off the walls and everything on that.
Okay, you've convinced me.
Yeah. So more information at stlambush.com. The Blues lost again yesterday, 3-2 to the Rangers at Madison Square Garden. No game for the Blues today. They play the Devils in New Jersey on Wednesday.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Someone in that control room is out of control.
On NewsTalkSTL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shan Scotch with your first alert forecast this afternoon. Going to see highs climbing back towards the upper 50s, mostly cloudy skies. Could see a few spot showers as we head towards the evening hours. Then into Wednesday and Thursday, temperatures looking to continuously cool back down towards the mid to lower 40s. Looking pretty dry, a little bit more sunshine popping out, especially in Thanksgiving Thursday. Then Friday could see some chances of a rain and snow mix. We'll continue to watch that as we're going to see more chances as we head off towards the upcoming weekend. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shan Scotch.
Fox News commentary with Brian Kilmeade next.
I'm alpine skier Michaela Schifrin. I've won the most World Cup ski races in history. But what does success mean to me? Success means discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us. And it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. If you're looking for success, surround yourself with the people who will get you there. If you're an advisor or investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE.
Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
Here's Brian Kilmeade.
Now, if you told me there was a group of Democrats, accomplished members of the military, would cut a tape that seemingly urges the men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces to ignore orders, I would be stunned. So imagine my dismay when I actually saw and listened to this.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders. I can't help feel let down from all this, because if America's ever going to truly come back to an age of reason, to an age of common sense, I thought it would be with the people who wore the uniform, who would lead us there on both sides of the aisle. Instead, they're trying to corrupt the people who wear the uniform now. Perhaps they're jealous of the attention the socialists on their side in their party are getting. They wanted some of the spotlight. Well, they got the spotlight. Now deal with the fallout.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
Life's legal challenges deserve experienced representation. For over 15 years, Cole Combs, attorney at law, has been serving St. Charles and surrounding counties with comprehensive legal expertise. From tax preparation and estate planning to family law and criminal defense, Cole delivers personalized solutions for your unique situation. You have traffic tickets, need a business formation, real estate matters, one call will handle it all. Cole O. Combs, attorney at law. Call 636-949-0010, extension 3 today, or visit colecombs-law.com.
If you're worried about losing your health insurance through Medicaid, we have great news for you. New government regulations have expanded the Affordable Care Act. And now you may qualify to get health insurance for you and your family through the Affordable Care Act. Call now to learn if you qualify. We know the healthcare regulations regarding Medicaid, and we've helped thousands of people find quality, affordable health insurance. Plus, all our research is free to you. So call us. With just one call, we'll shop from hundreds of different insurance companies to find you the right affordable health insurance plan. So if you're worried about losing your Medicaid insurance, call right now. Speak with a licensed agent and find how you may qualify for a new health insurance plan.
800-479-0931. 800-479-0931. 800-479-0931. That's 800-479-0931. Paid for by the Health Insurance Hotline.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever I'm at, home, car, wherever.
Download the all-new NewsTalkSTL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Just the convenience on the phone. Streaming live on the mobile app.
Love the new app.
And listen anytime.
Everywhere.
Anywhere.
Hey guys, Billy Crow here from Jeffco Patriot Radio. Hope you had enough time to freshen up your coffee, because now we're back with Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, let's have a party, people. Woo! Yep. All right, we're going to hear some music, maybe have some drinks.
Ooh.
Play a little poker maybe if you want, and support both kids and veterans.
Sounds right up Larry Connor's alley.
That's right. That sounds like a pretty good way to spend an evening, and you can do that coming up here, not that far from, like, just a few days away here. So there's still room for you. We're joined by Phil Wright from St. Louis Lights. And Phil, good to have you on the program here. We talk about helping the veterans and supporting that. We're talking about our friends at the Freedom 13, and we are big supporters of Mark and everything he does with that. And so a big part of what's coming up, the St. Louis City Lights, Christmas being described as the Christmas party of all Christmas parties. This is happening at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery on December 1st. So what's in store? Somebody wants to get involved, because this is a fundraiser, but man, it sounds like this is just a big party too.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's actually pretty audacious. We're taking over the whole brewery. We're going to have a bunch of cars underneath the Christmas lights. We're bringing down a bunch of Jeeps with glow and Christmas lights as well. We're going to have blackjack, craps, roulette, 3-card poker, a little horse racing. And I've got 4 great country singers coming up and about 40 fashion models for our fashion show. So it's going to be a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Now you mentioned the cars, so we got kind of a car show, but this isn't the standard, thing that you'll see on ESPN. These are going to be some pretty tricked out, pretty unusual vehicles.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just praying that the St. Louis weather kind of cooperates, right? But a lot of these guys are diehard, so whether it's rain, some light snow, or whatever, they're going to still come out and support veterans. So we have everything from classics to rat rods, rust rods, exotic, sport. We actually even have a guy bringing a car made out of a Patriot missile.
Wait, I did not see that on the material that Greg sent me. What? Tell me about that. I got to follow up on that.
No, he's actually with a group called Hot Rods for Heroes. And so he's actually got a legitimate Patriot missile that he refurbished into a hot rod. So in order to see it, you got to come on down.
Oh my gosh! Wow,
that's amazing.
I'm not caught off guard. I try to prep for every discussion. I did not have on my bingo card a car made out of a Patriot missile, Phil.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff. I've seen, even I was talking to Anheuser-Busch about cars being able to throw fire and stuff like that, and they kind of shied away from that. But I kind of failed to mention that the Patriot missile one.
Well, now they know. Now it's out there. We're visiting with.
Oh, damn it! No, it is safe. It is not an active missile.
Okay.
Well, that's
it is a beautiful ride, and the guy does do good things with his group, Hot Rods for Heroes. Awesome. So can only imagine that they're going around town doing a bunch of different car shows and raising money for veterans.
All right. And this is happening December 1st at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. It's called 2025 St. Louis City Lights. So how's this going to work? You get your ticket. And I know there's different levels of tickets, but basically definitely. you just kind of get a chance to just go into whatever you want to go. Obviously there's a concert schedule. So what all is going to be included with those tickets?
Right, exactly. And then so we're and then it is a boots and bling theme. So we actually got the Diamond family giving a $50 gift certificate for every ticket purchase. So you automatically get a little bling somewhere in your holiday. But so what people can imagine, there's 4 country singers, Molly Lovett and Jenna Kay are local singers that are down in Nashville now. And then I got KDO that was on American Idol and Team Reba on The Voice, and then another lady, Savannah Ray, who is also on The Voice. So, 4 ladies just doing a little bit of main stage, but then they're going to be doing some acoustic playing in the casino rooms, and then maybe even a little acoustic around the fireplace if I can coax them outside for a little bit.
All right. And the proceeds from this benefiting, as we said, the Freedom 13 as well as Toys for Tots as well. So 2 really great causes here. What was it that spoke to you about those 2 that said, I want to do something, I want to help somebody, and this is where we're going with this?
Yeah, so I think I've always admired Toys for Tots. I think I was at Andra Law Christmas party last year, and I saw the Toys for Tots Marines there, and it really was that was awesome. That was awesome to see. So I got Toys for Tots involved. I've actually got a 90-year-old Marine who's going to be his Press Blues, helping out with the Toys for Tots. So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, so let me jump in real quick. So you're just looking for the ticket prices. You're not asking people to bring the toys for this one, but it's going to help them access them.
Yeah. So I've actually got a mobile teddy bear place. If someone doesn't want to bring a toy, they're able to get a teddy bear made on site. But yeah, I am asking for people to bring a toy if they could. My actual cost on tickets is well over 100, and I'm only charging 75. So I'm kind of reducing ticket prices just so people can have an opportunity to bring a toy. But then we're also doing the Freedom 13, which is always which is a great local charity, and doing some good things locally, building the Freedom Camp down south, and basically helping veterans and their families with a retreat to help with issues like PTSD and everything else.
Yeah. So we're talking December 1st. We're talking just a few days away here. So somebody wants to get involved with that. By the way, what time of the day or the night does this all kick off?
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate that. It is from 6 to 10 o'clock. And then if you're bringing a car down, you need to register, but then the car load in is from 3:30 to 5:30.
Okay. And so, Phil, then where do people find the ticket information? They want to learn more about this, or they want to party with you. What's the way to get in touch?
Yeah, absolutely. So the best way is at www.stltoprides.com and then /launch is probably the best link to use, because then you can register a Jeep for the 100 Jeeps of Christmas. You can register a car and you can buy tickets. We're all out of Jeep, free Jeep and free car tickets. So if you're bringing a car, you got to register and then you got to buy your ticket.
Okay. And then, of course, somebody wants to come in, and I know a lot of people, I'm not going to mention Larry Connor's name, but there are a lot of people who say, oh, wait a minute, I can play some poker while I'm raising money for a good cause, and they can do that too.
Yeah, definitely. So we have blackjack, craps, roulette, three-card poker. I have Larry in mind. I'm actually going to have some open play poker tables where it's not like Texas Hold'em, but it's like your backyard poker at the church group, right? You just play whatever you want to play against other people. So
right.
We're going to have some of that. And then I've also got a couple horse racing scenarios set up. And I've actually got some staff from over at Hooters, and they're going to be selling calendars to send overseas. But I'm also having them man my horse racing booth and to make it a little more lively.
All right. Phil Wright from the St. Louis City Lights party of the event coming up here on December 1st. So there's still room for people. They want to grab a ticket, though, I'm taking, right?
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely room, and I would recommend getting tickets sooner than later, because we do have a limited number of, let's say, general admission tickets. And when those run out, then it'll be casino tickets. And when those run out, it'll be a VIP ticket. So it would, so we just want everyone to come out, have a good time. There's something there for everybody.
Yeah. And let's be honest, by Monday, you're going to be tired of your family anyway. You need to get out and have some.
God, yeah. No, absolutely. No one's taking Monday seriously, right?
No, I know I'm not. All right, Phil. Hey, thanks again. Let's give out that website one more time.
Absolutely, my friends. I appreciate having me on.
Yep. You got it. Once again, that website is stltoprides.com. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
All right, Phil, thanks so much, man. We'll talk to you soon. Good luck with him yet.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
That sounds like a party, man.
Oh, that sounds like a fantastic event.
Yeah, the Freedom 13 is what kind of put this on my radar. I'm like, yeah, I'm happy to talk about that. But now that Phil's talking about it, I'm like, that sounds like a blast.
Now, it is a little bit cruel of you to try to unleash Larry Connors when there's poker and liquor involved and these poor people. But what is not cruel is downloading the NewsTalkSTL app, which is how you can stay informed with all of your favorite programming when it airs. I have people all the time that say, we've been friends for a while, but I don't live in St. Louis, right? I still want to catch some of the shows that you keep talking about. And I'm like, well, download the app. The schedule's right there. And you can look at that in your own time zone. So if you're going on vacation, visiting some family, if you want to bug your cousin that, watches a little bit too much CNN and you want to show what real news sounds like, go ahead and download the app. If you have a phone, you have got a radio. So bring us with you.
So I hear an out-of-towner asking someone, where's the best place to eat? Before they could respond, I said, Cafe Napoli. Where? Well, I said, Cafe Napoli in Clayton, Napoli 2 in Town and Country, Napoli 3 in St. Charles, right next door to Napoli C, and then you got Napoli Kirkwood, plus you got Napoli Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield. You'll find Napoli everywhere. It's not too early to book a party and buy gift cards. Cafe Napoli.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Looking for a hardware store that treats you like family? Welcome to True Value Schneider's Hardware, your local gem in Old Town St. Peters. For over 100 years, we're proudly serving St. Charles County, providing everything from lawn and garden supplies to plumbing and electrical. Need a bolt or fastener? We've got you covered. And don't forget, we're a steel dealership. Whether you need sales, parts, or service, ask for Charlie or Jerry when you come in. We're here to help. Call 636-278-4461 or visit us online at truevalue.com/Schneiders.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Missouri Attorney General is trying to salvage parts of an unconstitutional law. David Stokes of Show Me Institute will tell us the details at 4:20.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Vic and Ken. We're on every Monday through Friday on News Talk STL. Kenny, how are you?
I'm good.
You know, you got to be some kind of weirdo to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and
You
do radio.
do, believe me.
And that weirdo is Mike Ferguson in the morning show on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh.
Yeah, I'm kind of just looking back over all the notes I had for today. To say we've covered an eclectic group of people, topics, and a lot of ground today.
I mean, you have Sheriff Montgomery, you've got UFOs, you've got decommissioned missiles being used as hot rods. I mean,
I want to know more about that. And it was funny. He goes, oh, well, it's safe. It's, it's not still a missile. And I'm thinking, well, that's not as much fun, but still it's a Patriot missile that's now a car.
I was hoping it was going to be like the Wile E. Coyote type thing, but no, I should have asked him. I don't think I would be the top donor, but if you were the top donor or you win the poker rounds, do you get to drag race it yourself? Or
I absolutely want to see that.
I just want to see what this thing looks like.
Oh man.
Because around the station, for people that don't know, I don't know where they're coming from, but there's somebody or some buddies that just have a wide variety of classic vintage restored. Have you seen these?
The vintage cars?
Yeah, the jalopies, like the little old school, like the Model T, like the Model Ts.
I've seen some. Matter of fact, yesterday I was on Westport Plaza, right up here, right by the radio station, and I saw, I don't know what kind of car that it was, but it was obviously from Europe somewhere because the driver was on the other side.
Yes.
And I don't know what car that is, but it was just one of those areas where, hey, if you got a top down type of car, you got a convertible or something like that, you just got a couple days left before you can be able to, can't drive it around for the season. But I remember I was at the stoplight right there as you would go into Westport.
Mm-hmm.
And he was at the stoplight going the other way. And I got a chance to sit there and stare at this thing. I'm like, wait a minute, that car. And I've driven a car with the drivers, on the other side when I was in the UK. But it was just really, really cool looking. Looks like it was probably built in the 50s or 60s.
Yeah, that's exactly, and it's multiple. So I don't get a very good look at the people. It appears to be a couple middle-aged gentlemen and some younger folks, and sometimes nice ladies with them. But the Wacky Races cartoon, it's like it looks like they're all preparing for that. So there's one, the guy was like driving with a crank in the middle of the. I'm like, I didn't know that was a way that you could actually back in the day. Yeah. But so I don't know. Maybe these guys will be here, but it'd be great to see them race a missile.
I was in, I want to say Fort Myers, Florida, because that's where one of the baseball tournaments I sometimes play in. And Thomas Edison lived there.
Oh.
So he's got there's a museum down there, and also Henry Ford lived down there.
Wow. And
in one of the museums, they actually have one of those old, like from, it would be like prehistoric in today's generation's terms, but the car, which has, that everything very, very basic, very rudimentary, but it was a luxury version. And it was, super, and the car is still there, which I think belonged to Edison or was given to Edison by Ford, or maybe it was Henry Ford's, but they had that classic vehicle. It looks like it could probably run. But the whole thing is right there, and that's what he would drive around in, 100 years ago or whatever.
Did it have the original white tires or no?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So that's authentic.
Yeah, then. Yeah, they did. And there were other ones they were showing some of the technology. Like one had this huge bed of batteries. from like 100 years ago that were made for this. And I thought that was kind of fascinating because it was like Tesla before Tesla, that they had actual batteries back then. Now, I don't know. Now, that may have only gotten you 100 yards or so, but they had it. They were working on that.
I still dream of the world we could have lived in with nuclear powered cars. Not gonna lie. I mean, probably very dangerous, but
never say never.
Never.
Yeah, we can get there. We can still do it. Oh man. But here's the thing, because that's going to be on Monday, December 1st. And I was only kind of half joking, because if you're like cooped up with family and friends for a few days, because we're talking about possible snow coming in by the end of the week.
Yikes.
Yeah. And Larry Connors just walked in. He's like, I got something to say to you.
Oh boy. Commander Connors. Well, he was smiling though, so it seems like we're not in that much trouble.
They always do before they get you.
Oh, that's right.
That's Gulp. There's a big window in the studio as we walk by. But that's why I mentioned, because I haven't really done a lot with the St. Louis ambush. And I saw, man, they're starting their season at home. And you don't have to be like understand the game that much. I enjoy the games. I've been to a few over the years. But it moves really, really fast. But I'm thinking by Friday, everybody's, tired of looking at the TV. You're done with your turkey coma. Those tickets aren't that expensive. Go have a family outing, go to the family arena and grab yourself some seats. And there really aren't any bad seats at the family arena. You can, it's a small enough arena. You can see everything, but those games are fun. I'd give that a shot.
And if you actually do enjoy your family, you can bring them out.
Right. Do a family outing.
It's called the family arena. Bring your family.
Just get out of the house for a little bit. I mean, and it's Friday afternoon, 5 o'clock. You're not going to be out super late, and you can avoid all those freaking stores. This past weekend, Rachel's like, we need to buy you some new jeans. I'm like, okay, fine. And so we actually went out to West County. I couldn't even find a parking place.
Nope.
And I'm like, I don't have the patience for this. We're like, okay, we just went somewhere else. We literally went through the driver. I do not have the patience for that. And people are already going nuts. Now, everybody who's at the mall they're buying something here instead of like on Amazon or something. But I'm just like, and it's the thing where people were white knuckling their steering wheels. Like, somebody's about to back up and there's like a showdown. Everybody's staring at each other. Who's going to cut in to get the parking place? I'm like, I don't have the patience. I don't have the calories for this.
No, and I don't have the insurance to deal with this. If I have just enough that if I cause a problem, then I get to pay a higher premium. But if you cause a problem for me, well, too bad to be me, I guess. And that's what's always been interesting to me. I mean, part of the fun of Black Friday was watching the news highlight reels of all the PvP stuff. People fighting over Cabbage Patch Kids and Elmo and all that stuff. But
I remember when that was a thing. Yeah,
the day after they just talked about what they were thankful for. And I when I worked at some of these retailer places on Black Friday, we had orderly queues. You could go online, reserve your spot, so there was no fighting. There's still fighting, but not in the store.
But what's sad is that you're like, well, of course there's fighting. I mean, we're supposed to be civilized people.
But I mean, again, you get there super early in the morning to prepare a store for a bunch of angry, crazy, fanatic people. And now that I'm out of that, I thought, okay, well, cool. But then I think it was last year, I actually was just trying to go grocery shopping. Like I didn't register to me that Thanksgiving, probably a better idea to stock up beforehand.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to navigate the parking lot, and I swear it was like people were almost like bumper carring each other. I'm like, please don't hit my car. Please don't hit my car.
Yeah.
I made it through relatively okay, but those lines were insane. And it's just,
See, I remember back in like the 70s and 80s when like my mom and grandma and they would go an early morning Black Friday shopping. It was like their adventure. It was just like a fun thing. And I'm like, even back then I'm thinking, I don't get that. Of course, now back then, obviously Amazon didn't exist. There was no online shopping. There was nothing. And the deals that were offered were what was offered. Well, then by the time you got through the mid 90s and 2000s, people are camping out in tents all day on Thanksgiving. And then they're fist fighting over, whatever deals. And I'm thinking, okay, we've lost our mind. We've just lost our mind on this.
Yeah, it's incredible too, because again, the holidays for some reason seem to bring out the worst of people rather than the best of people. I mean, it's quite the phenomena if you really look at it. Now, I remember a couple of years ago after like Uber Eats and DoorDash and all those sorts of things started to actually be solidified as a mainstay, and it would be something similar. You would be like, hey, we're yep, there it is.
We're watching one of the news monitors, and they're showing video of people fighting
See,
over stuff
that's
in
what
the
I
store.
miss. I miss that, but
Oh,
I could have made money being your Black Friday bodyguard, I guess.
Yes.
But essentially, you know, I had a couple buddies that we were with. We were having a Friendsgiving, and then we're like, oh well, we forgot a few things. Let's just DoorDash it so we don't have to go through. I'm like, okay, fine. And it was like 45 minutes, an hour later for a few items, and they're like, where is it? Why is it not here? I'm like, you realize everything you're trying to avoid, this poor person you sent into the wilderness to go get all this for us. They're probably fighting the crowds off on our behalf. You better tip them
because there's probably just 2 or 3 people for the whole city because everybody else is having meals with their family. And why are they working? Because they have nobody. Because they're lonely.
Oh,
so I'm just saying.
So if you feel lonely over Thanksgiving, you can go watch some soccer. You can come to this car show. You know, you
That's
can
right.
come to any of the locations for a food drive, and you can put your food in there because you cook, you know, you didn't have anybody to cook for, so you don't need it anyways.
So I'm glad you mentioned that because that's like, for instance, I've got a couple things showing up on Amazon, not holiday stuff, just a couple things I needed. And that was my challenge. I want to reiterate that is when you get something delivered, probably a holiday gift this time of year, whatever the case is, save the box and say, I'm going to fill that box for the food drive. And you can either take it to church for maybe your Sunday school class, or just take it to the office or whatever, you know, with the family, saying, hey, this is really easy. When we go to the grocery store or order groceries or whatever, let's make it a point to fill this box. Maybe it's a little box that had shoes in it. Maybe it's a bigger box that had something else. But that's just a really easy way to visually see that and get involved, because Feed My People here in St. Louis, this is a ministry that we're working with, and they work exclusively. They are local and they work with people right here. And this has nothing to do with government. This is just us. And we're obviously partnering with the St. Louis County GOP Central Committee to do this. But this is just us saying we're putting the politics aside. We're just helping our friends and neighbors, because we say all the time, we can do it better than government. So let's do it better than government.
And I've got some family when I go visit them for Thanksgiving. I'm going to be coming back with some goods of my own, because it goes on through December 21st. But if you send me a photo of you dropping some food off, if I can get a few photos, I want to figure out something that I can do back for the community to encourage you guys to donate.
Columbo here for my friends at Bluff City Outdoors.